Hello, I'm Broff, and welcome to my Path 3 tutorial for Shadow SX. I'm here to break down each level of Path 3 in granular detail to help you get comfortable with this challenging but engaging route. Path 3, or the March to a Darker World as it's called in the library, consists of all dark missions except for one neutral mission on the Ark. Overall, it's a well-paced route with mostly action-heavy stages, but has just enough downtime in the form of auto-scrollers in Digital Circuit and a skip on the Ark, which has you falling through the void for about a minute so that it's not too fatigue-inducing. You can catch your breath a little bit there. The format of the tutorial is as follows. Each level and boss will have a beginner route and advanced route section. I'll be going over some pre-recorded runs that I've made for each section and pausing when necessary to explain tricks and movement nuances, and also showing clips of alternate strats for particular parts of a level where applicable. Some information might be repeated between beginner and advanced route videos for the same level, just because I want to make sure that each half is a comprehensive standalone explanation, if that's the only one you're going to see. But feel free to skip around and mix and match the strats between the two paths. Timestamps for each of the sections can be found in the description down below. At the end of the video, I'll play out the full collection of beginner and advanced route level runs back to back, uninterrupted, without commentary. If you already know the game well and you don't desire copious explanations of game mechanics, that'll be the section for you. Note that if you plan on participating in the Path 3 tournament, the advanced route will feature the full suite of IL strats, some of which won't be very tournament safe. And all of the level runs represent a near best case scenario for the respective route, so the end times aren't really representative of what's realistic for a full run setting. I'll link my Path 3 PB below as well for reference there if you want to see what that kind of looks like. Big thanks to Koma as well. She made the tutorial for Central City Dark, as her knowledge on that stage far exceeds my own. Before we get started, if you have any questions not answered by this video, you're more than welcome to ask away in the Shadow Speedrunning Discord. Now, without further ado, let's get to making those humans suffer. So a quick note on vocabulary before this starts. There's a trick in this game that we frequently use to gain height in certain sections of levels that I'm going to do here. So yeah, we just jump into a corner of something with a lot of speed, and it sends us vertical. So the community generally calls that the spin dash high jump, or the collision high jump. I might call it a DBR from time to time, which is just a little inside name me and my roommate gave it a while back before we were part of the community, so that's what I mean. Alright, so first I'm going to show you the more beginner-friendly path of Westopolis. Westopolis Dark has two major route variations. The first one involving you just getting Frenzy Gauge about halfway through the level and then just keeping it for the infinite ammo throughout the rest of it. Never doing any chaos control, just running through as fast as possible. The second one has you extending chaos control and building hero gauge earlier in the level, and there's a lot more that can go wrong when it comes to missing enemies and point routing, so I'd encourage you to probably start out with this one, and maybe give the harder route a try to see how it goes for you, but this route can still get you a solid sub 150 time, not much lower than 150, but it's a lot more consistent, so it has its value for tournament settings. So starting out, they're both the same. All Westos are the same. Rule is you always want to grab 33 of these rings because it's cooler. Why not? There's nothing else to do. So your first choice in this level is going to be whether to take this light dash at the bottom or not. It saves very little time, but it does save just a tiny bit. However, there's a weird way it can go wrong. If you get too much speed off of that light dash, you'll clip on the top of the building that the ramp sends you over, and it'll make you fall into some weird invisible collision, and it's no good. So when you're first starting out, very much encourage you to not mess with it. It's really not very worth it. But if you do want to, the trick to it is light dashing basically right when you get to the very first ring, like not any bit before it. And I think what's happening there is you're just getting the light dash on the trail of 3 in front of it, which gives you little enough speed that you don't get sent in a weird trajectory off the ramp. So you can either do it like on that first ring, or just wait until you collect that first ring and right afterwards get the light dash into the 3 of them. So here's how that looks. And just cleared it. These are the ways that the light dash can go wrong. First I'll show too early, then too late. So too early, you bonk on that thing and you hit some weird invisible collision on your way down. Too late, you kind of weirdly get several light dashes. So right here, that gun soldier is about to get killed by the laser. You're going to want his gun. So that line of 3 rings right next to me will put you in the perfect, like taking a light dash off of it will send you straight into where his gun drops. You can kind of get a feel of the timing for it either based on the animation of the soldier or by looking at the timer. If you're looking at the timer, the earliest possible time you can get the gun is if you light dash at 24:10. But to be safe, I'd say probably just shoot for like 24:80 to 25 minutes or 25 seconds. Also, worth noting, if you for some reason had any time loss in the previous section of the level, that will be later. So maybe your best bet is just to look at the gun soldier and look at his animation, because that's always going to be relative to the time you're currently at. So here's what that looks like. So grab the gun. Our second enemy is on the right to shoot. You want to make sure that you shoot him when you're close enough so that your shot doesn't veer off to the right, because Shadow doesn't really track shots super well. He just shoots where people are, and he's moving to the left. So wait until you're close. Also, this alien on the left here can sometimes, depending on spawn RNG, be right in the middle in your way. Just double tap him, shoot him real quick to get him out of your way if that happens. Alright, and you want to kind of do like a stick maneuver to get smoothly down that decline. Like kind of just hook the stick down to basically southwest fully. As you're going down, you'll kind of get a feel for it. If you're flying off the edges of it slightly, not a huge deal, just keep going. So for this next section, there are going to be 3 gun soldiers, one spawning in over there, and this one alien. All of them have to die because the alien opens the box. So I'm starting out from the left of this field right now, and that's because I'm going to take a line that hooks right to get this guy, straightens out to shoot the alien, and then go slightly left to shoot this gun soldier on the left. Once the last gun soldier is dead, move towards his gun because you're going to want the ammo. So here's that. And take the spring. So if you're having trouble quickly shooting these enemies before the box, here's a little bit of extra demonstration. Just make sure to follow this line that I take. I will do it a little bit slower here. Just make sure to double tap the alien so it dies. But if it doesn't, you can quickly turn around to get him. So you want to make sure here that your stick is held straight forward, or else you're going to knock into objects weirdly. There's 2 objects you want to squeeze through here, and as soon as you're past them, hook your stick left to be in line to shoot both of the gun soldiers that come right afterwards, and then just move on to the next gun soldier after that. He's dead. So right ahead, there's this box. There's multiple ways to go about getting it. Most simply, you could just drop the gun and go and kick it, and jump onto the weapon for a fast pickup. What I'm going to do here is probably about the fastest way to go about it. So because we have ammo, you can just spam a couple shots this way. Once it's broken, you want to do a quick little hop to cut your speed, and while you're in the air, press Y. That drops the gun, and if you drop the gun while you're on the ground and you're not moving very quickly, Shadow does a really slow animation where he tosses it away. So we're jumping to make sure that it just is gotten rid of quickly. And you want to do it far enough away from the gun, because if you do it too close to the pickup, you won't pick up the next gun. So here's how that looks. And just run into it. So here's a few different ways to grab this weapon quickly. The first method I'll show is my preferred one. You can shoot it, hop, grab the weapon, make sure you drop your old one in the air. And here you can shoot this guy, drop the weapon, jump kick. And you can also do a slide kick. But make sure you actually land on the weapon so you get the quick pickup. So we don't have to worry about any of these aliens here, because we're not building hero gauge. Pay attention to this dotted line on the road, though. At the end of that dotted line at the very top here is a gun soldier who's going to spawn in, and he has a pre-scripted shot path that he shoots to the left. For that reason, you want to make sure to approach him from the right of this dotted line, or else you might get hit by him. So basically, to do it as fast as possible, you kind of want to converge with the line right as you get to the top of this area, but don't make sure not to go to the left of it before you're up the hill. And he's shot. Hook around this car. So this next section can be kind of tricky to do properly. There's going to be a gun soldier that spawns in to the right here. Okay, yeah, so shoot him while you're moving slightly right, and as soon as your shot that is going to hit him has been fired, hook your stick left, because you want to have some leftward momentum as you go over this ridge, or else you'll fly off the side of it. You won't keep running. If that happens, not a big deal. Just keep going, and that'll make it easier to get through the next section, which has a lot of obstacles. But right here, I just want to show the ideal way that it goes. So I'll run it a few times. Pay attention to my stick motions here on the input display. Sky him. Boom, 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 boom. Run it back. So you see, with the stick, I kind of end up almost southwest at some point. Like, I'm counter-steering Shadow to, like, make his direction of momentum kind of buffered to be more leftward. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but you kind of just got to get a feel for it. Essentially, like, if you hold the stick a full 180 degrees opposite of the direction of Shadow's current momentum, he'll do a little skid animation. But as long as you're short of 180 degrees, it'll just pretty much counter-steer him. So if going down that alleyway too quickly is intimidating to you, there's some ways to cut your speed. It doesn't lose you that much time, and it's definitely a whole lot faster than getting hit. So you can run down and just slide off, and that'll make it so you don't come into the section so quickly. You can also just jump towards the bottom. That'll cut your speed. Or you can just let off the analog stick briefly, and that'll make Shadow slow back down. Just take it at whatever pace you're comfortable with. So I'll run that one more time, and then stop at the bottom to explain the little alleyway. Okay, so now that we're down here, you want to straighten out. None of the aliens have to die, but if any of them are in your way, you kind of want to keep shooting, which, for that reason, you want to be kind of conservative with ammo earlier in the level. The best path to take is essentially just following these line of rings and shooting this box out of your way. That puts you at less risk of getting caught up on this red fruit. So here's how that looks. Alright. Now you want to just take this light dash up, take the spring, and double tap homing attack that alien to get out of the falling animation quickly. Now, there's this gun soldier right here. He's the only one you have to shoot, because there's going to be a laser beam that falls down and blows up these two guys. But before that happens, you want to make sure to shoot him, because he'll give you red gauge, and then you'll be invincible, and you won't be hurt by that explosion. Here you want to jump, and keep holding A, and wait for this ramp to come down. When it comes down, go ahead and homing attack as soon as you've noticed. Shoot this guy, and then do a homing attack on the ladder too. Make sure not to just quickly tap A, because that'll make you not target the next guy, because you won't be high up enough. Homing attack him, shoot this guy on your way down, and then as you're falling, you want to charge a spin dash. In this game, when you're a couple feet above the ground, you can start charging a spin dash before you've actually landed for whatever reason, and this is one area where you can take advantage of that. So you may notice Shadow weirdly spinning in the air, and that's what's happening. It's a thing. And then you just want to spin dash jump across this gap. And jump over this ramp. So for this section, there's not too much to do. You just want to keep Shadow moving constantly and make sure he doesn't bump up against objects in a way that cuts his speed. And just make sure you kill all the necessary gun soldiers. So there's going to be two right up ahead, you'll see. Two here, keep running. Two here, jump to cut your speed. this guy right here, 2 at the bottom. All right. Now right here, you want to jump on this section of the loop because it'll give you a little bit of a slope jump that'll help you quickly get over to this side. And you can just tap A because you'll get some height off of the slope, so you don't have to use the hover frames. So yeah, get over here, light dash. And then we're going to take the next light dash that's on the ground. Shoot these 2 guys. Okay, now, so here, through this tunnel, there's going to be 1 gun soldier kind of around the corner, and he can be pretty tricky to hit because he doesn't like to spawn in because you're moving so fast. So what I'd recommend doing is hug the left side of the wall, shoot the boxes out of your way, and right when you're near the boxes, let off the analog stick for just a second, and that'll cut Shadow's speed a little bit and give the soldier time to spawn in. And it'll also allow you to see yourself shooting him so you can get visual confirmation on that. So pay attention to the analog stick and notice how I really briefly just let it go neutral. That's kind of a useful technique in this game in general. Alright, he's shot. Now just take this line, shooting all the things out of your way. Now, one of the last things to mention is behind that goal ring is a line of rings that you can light dash. It's slightly faster, but it's very dangerous. It puts you at risk of going through the goal ring, so don't do it if you don't want to risk it for the biscuit. Doesn't save a lot of time. So now just keep shooting everything you see down here, but most importantly, there's going to be a beetle that comes from the center of the screen roughly. He's a little above center. He's about to come up. You really don't want to miss him. He's like an essential enemy because we skipped one that's kind of slow to shoot earlier in the path. So don't get passive and forget to shoot him. Shoot this helicopter. And you can either take this light dash at the bottom or not. Not that important. Shoot the last 2 guys. And that's the level. It's hard to get this much lower than 146, but it pretty consistently gets around 150 if everything goes well and nothing's too terribly challenging in it. So I definitely recommend learning this route to start out with.
Perfect.
Alright, so now I'll go over the more advanced route of the 2, the Chaos Control Extension route for Westopolis Dark, and my personal favorite. This one's a lot of fun and very challenging. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't work well for you. It definitely can be pretty consistent through a lot of practice, but it's a doozy. So without further ado, the first section's the same. Definitely grab 33 rings. It powers you up, gives you good luck. Same deal with the light dash. Minorly worth it. Just make sure not to do it from far away at all. Just do it real close. Okay, so here's our first difference in the route. We're still going to get that gun from that gun soldier when he gets killed by light dashing through those rings, but as soon as you pick it up, you want to jump at the end of this platform and hold slightly forward left on the analog stick so that you can hit that alien on the left, because we are building hero gauge here. That's the name of the game. You want as much as possible, so shoot all the aliens you can, pretty much. So yeah, you want to use just enough hover frames to get up to him and kill him, and then immediately homing attack right, and you'll see why. Okay, so we have the gun, and we just killed that alien, and now Shadow's facing towards the right, because we want to land down here roughly, right past this light pole. You want to kind of run between this light pole and this car, and as soon as you get to like right here, start charging a spin dash. And wait for it to pretty much fully charge. You're going to let it loose a little bit after this wall gets destroyed, but not as soon as it gets destroyed, because if you do it too soon, you'll get hit by the explosion. So wait just a second. We'll let the spin dash go. So now we're at the edge of this. We just got 2 fires, so we're at 200 hero points. Quick note on hero points. The actual numerical points do not align with the extent to which the enemy you killed fills the blue gauge. That's a separate value, but they tend to correlate closely enough, especially in the context of an individual level, so you can pretty much just go by the number and it'll be accurate enough. We're trying to get eventually to between 1615 or 1650 and 1800 by the time we enter the alleyway with all the aliens in it. So with that out of the way, we just got done with the spin dash. You want to start holding right on the analog stick, as you see I'm doing here. And that's because if you don't hold it, the momentum of the spin dash will make Shadow veer off quite far to the left when you get down below, and you want to straighten him out. And then as you're falling, you want to shoot the first gun soldier before you've hit the ground. He's shot. Okay, so when you land on the ground here, you'll still have quite a bit of momentum from that spin dash. You don't want all of it, because you need to grab that gun that he's going to drop. So you have two options. You can either just let the analog stick go to neutral just for a frame or two to cut Shadow's speed, or you can hold down the right trigger button, which will put Shadow into the strafe mode. He'll appear to be going slower during that, but his stored speed is actually slowly decaying. So once you let go of right trigger, if you haven't been holding it for very long, Shadow will shoot back off. That's kind of cool tech. For some reason, I tend to not prefer it, so I just do the old-fashioned way of just letting off the analog stick. But either way, just go slow enough that Shadow can grab the gun. And as soon as you get it, or actually a little bit before you get it, start shooting at these aliens. You want to kill all three of them, ideally. I personally use the turbo shortcut in SX just because I'm not very good at mashing and it hurts my hand. So feel free to do that here. You'll just hold down L and B at the same time for as long as you want to keep spamming shots, and it helps a lot with these guys. Wanted to show what the strafe storage method for slowing yourself down for that second gun pickup looks like as well. Yeah, so you see I just barely made it to the gun. You'll see I just hit a prop there, and that's because the alien was behind it. Ideally, you don't want to hit that prop, because we're also, in addition to getting hero points here, trying to avoid getting too much red gauge, so try to avoid hitting any props if it's not necessary. This section up ahead, you want to shoot this alien here, and getting a straight line down this incline is a little tricky. You'll just have to work it out, really. Just look at the input display, see what I do, try to copy it. And you want to end up slightly to the left of center at the bottom of this path. So, you see I'm already slightly left of center. Ideally, you can get through this whole section without really slowing down at all. You just have to take the right line. And what I do is I start slightly to the left, and then once I get around here, I start cutting my momentum right so that I can hit this guy, and then I straighten back out so that it shoots this alien and the guy behind him. And you want to be running in a straight line pretty much along this this yellow divider by the end of it, so that you can just jump and go right into the spring. This can be tricky. I usually use turbo for it. I'd recommend just isolating the section, practicing it a lot until you get it right. It feels really good when it goes right. So they're all dead. I just homing attacked into there. So once you're on the ground here, you'll want to start holding forward, just like the other path. So I'm holding forward, and as soon as you get past the two props that you're going to slip through, you want to hook left so that you can shoot two gun soldiers. But as soon as you shot the second one, you'll want to hook back right so that you can shoot one or both of the aliens up ahead. I typically just shoot one for ammo conservation reasons, because I want to save a shot for the weapon box. Boom, boom, shot one. Alright, so I'm going to shoot this gun soldier on my way over, and I'm going to move slightly further left than it looks like is necessary, because there's two birds that are going to show up here, and they like to attract your shot such that you can't shoot the box. I like to shoot the box, so I tend to go a little further to the left. And shooting the box makes the weapon fall out sooner, so that you can get a fast pickup on it. And you can either hop to slow yourself down, or use the trigger tech. I do the hop. Right here, this guy to the left, he's kind of tricky. You want to be moving slightly left at this point so you can hit him. But he's not absolutely necessary, not the end of the world if you don't. But just take this line through, shoot all the aliens. Shoot him. You got two options here. You can either do a quick homing attack to get some extra uphill momentum, to get to this guy, but I find it's actually not all that helpful because you're able to get a slanted shot while still on this incline on him if you're not in homing attacking state. So I kind of just shoot off a few shots once I'm like near him, hoping they'll hit him. And then you want to pick up his gun. Gun picked up, kill that alien. So here, if you don't have enough points, you can hook to the left, and there's an alien who will fall down, like a bipedal alien. You can get a decent amount of points off of. But it's faster to skip him and just go along the right side of the section and just shoot this bird. Bird shot. Same deal here as in the other Westo tutorial. You want to shoot this guy and then hook the analog stick left as you're going over that ridge, because if Shadow's moving sideways enough, the incline relative to where he's moving won't be great enough at any one time that he'll slip off of the path. Okay, now so for the routing here, for one, notice I'm holding straight left. Once I get on this road, I'm going to straighten out, and there's one bird on the left you want to shoot, one alien to the right you want to shoot, and then eventually you want to end up going through the alien box on the left side of the path right before the ramp, and there's two more birds right past that box that you'll likely shoot if you're just holding down B. And ammo is not much of a concern at this point, so just spam away. So ideally, you should have chaos control by this point, which I'll use pretty much right after I go over the ramp. Now this next section is probably the trickiest in the level. So right after I go out over this hill, there's a line of rings. And as soon as Shadow's right over them, you want to just mash X pretty quickly so that you can immediately get out of chaos control, and then with the very next X press, initiate the light dash. Speed is of the essence throughout this entire section. There's not a lot of time to spare to keep that chaos control. So I go here. I'm going to do a little hop to shoot these two beetles. Around the corner is one alien. I'll just call them elites because you'll probably know what I mean, the bipedal ones. You want to kill the elite to get his gauge, and then immediately hook right around the bus. So there's one soldier that I'm aiming at here. Black Doom's blocking him, but you can see his health bar. So you'll notice I have a somewhat rightward path. As soon as I shoot this first guy, I'm going to jump and hook the stick hard right to allow Shadow to turn quickly to shoot the guy who's off in the alleyway. He's tricky to get quickly. It's just taking advantage of the fact that if you're holding down B on an automatic weapon and jump, Shadow will keep shooting automatically without doing the hanging in the air animation, and it'll allow him to turn more quickly. So here's what that looks like. So I just shot a guy to the right, kind of hard to tell, but that quick little turn I did was what I was talking about. So now you want to go between this barrier and this light pole, and right around the corner is a light dash to do that you'll likely have to initiate before you can really see it. You just got to get a feel for the timing. I think it's not absolutely necessary if you do everything else perfect to do the light dash to maintain chaos control, but it's tricky otherwise. So here's what that looks like. You take the light dash, and now you're going quite fast, so you have to be careful that you're able to shoot the next two gun soldiers. There's one that's just spawning in here, and there's going to be another one here. So what you kind of want to do is right once you're out of the light dash, you want to be holding forward as you come out of it, or else it'll cut your speed. But as soon as you're out of it, hook the stick slightly right so that you'll fire some shots off in this guy's direction, and then change your line as soon as those shots are on their way to hook left to shoot the other guy, and then straighten back out so that you can not hit this wall. So I hit both of those and initiated chaos control right there. So if you make it to this point without enough chaos control points, which I don't, I have 1550 here, you want 1650 at least, you won't get it at the normal point, but all is not lost. Just do what I do here. Alright, so I didn't get it in the previous section, I was just shy of it, but you're just going to go to the ground here and take that light dash forward and double tap on the alien who's ahead. And you chaos control just a little bit after you homing attack away from him. And what that's going to do is there's one alien who's going to get killed by that laser that's coming from the sky who you ordinarily don't kill in the typical advanced route. So that means in the next section, you don't have to kill one enemy you normally would have to, and it makes the extension a little bit easier. So here's how that extension looks in the alternate route. So we didn't have to kill the enemy that was in that alleyway. And that gets you past the loop. Take this light dash. Rest of the level's pretty simple. Only thing to note here, the guy in the tunnel, he's still tricky to hit. You can get him pretty much full speed if you hold a little further left on the analog stick than you think you would need to turn that corner. And it just makes Shadow take a slightly wide line out of it, but it puts him in position to hit the guy. So just watch the stick position here. It's pretty consistent if you just like hold that specific direction. Watch it back if you need to if you're having trouble with it. Got him. And just take this line. Jump kind of ASAP so that you don't hit that wall too badly. And the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Just shoot all the things on your way down. Make sure not to miss that beetle. That really sucks if you do. Take this light dash, shoot some shots down. And that's the basics of the sub 140 Westopolis Dark.
Anybody who gets in my way is my enemy.
Yeah, like I said earlier, definitely don't get discouraged if this is difficult. It took me a long time to learn how to do this. Now I'm going to be covering the beginner route to digital circuit. For this one, the difference between beginner and expert route won't be that significant, just a few key tricks. So for this beginning section, it's an auto-scroller. It doesn't really matter which direction you go. Just don't, switch past more often than you have to.
Control which way this leads.
The difference is negligible no matter what you do, though. So right when you get out of this auto-scroller, you want to mash A so that Shadow can homing attack forward as soon as possible and not get too much height. And you want to aim slightly left. So now that you've landed, you want to jump and aim a homing attack into this little curve. And that'll help Shadow get the speed to quickly climb over it. And then you'll want to go for this enemy, hop into him, and then hop again to land on his weapon to get the fast pickup. Alright, now we're up here. Once you get to the end of this platform, just jump, hold A the whole time, and you'll want to homing attack onto this lip to get up to the upper area, skipping the platforms that show up in this little section. Just make sure to jump high enough so you don't run into them. Shoot these two enemies, and just run right down the middle and grab this checkpoint for safety. Take that spring. So for these guys, they're close enough together that I can jump for this, but you can charge a little spin dash to get the distance to get between them. Shoot these guys. Just do some homing attacks while aiming right, and jump into that. So mash A quickly coming out of that. If you mash quickly enough, you'll be able to homing attack over that item box and skip hitting it and doing the slow little grab animation. So fall down here and do a tiny hop, going over the right of this platform to fall down towards the little auto-scroller and initiating box down below.
How about we both look for
So right here, be careful with your timing. You don't want to hit A too soon, or else you'll wall run on the side, and it's kind of hard to recover from that. You can, if you air control yourself, back towards the little octagon that gets you into the auto-scroller, but yeah, just hit A late enough.
together? That red
And this section, not too much to say.
Watch out.
The fastest way to do it, I think, is what I'm about to do. Just do what I do, I guess. Doesn't matter too much. I go left, right, left here. Seems like a shorter distance by a little bit.
Out of the way.
Alright, so when you get out of that, don't mash A, but hit it right after you pop out of the auto-scroller tube, and you'll hit that spring, and just hold forward here.
That floating net is cool.
and jump and hold A for just a second and homing attack onto that little curve. So as soon as we pop up here, you want to be mashing B. In my case, I'm holding left trigger and holding B just to like turbo B, just so that Shadow will shoot as soon as he pops up, and that makes it so he doesn't fly up in the air, he just stops right where he shoots. So do that, start charging a spin dash right here, charge it fully, and just do a jump over this gap. Make sure not to homing attack until you're at the very end of it, because these beetles like to get targeted from way too far away. So if in doubt, don't even homing attack. You don't need it to get over, but it can help if you don't have quite enough distance. And then we're going to shoot the box once we get over there. I thought it would also be worth mentioning for the beginner route that there is an alternate way that you may find easier to do this jump that involves homing attacking immediately after getting the spin dash jump off. Just makes it so you won't be tempted to get a homing attack too early and target the guys on the left. And it also means you take a slightly more direct path. So here's that. Yeah. So shoot the box, and if you still have any ammo, do a quick hop and Y press to get rid of the gun so that you can run over to the egg vacuum and quick pick it up. So what I usually do here is I turn back around and start a spin dash jump near the top of this polygon face, and that's because Shadow will slide down slowly while he's charging the spin dash if he's doing it on an incline. So eventually you'll have enough room to get that A press off. And you just want a short little hop. You don't need too much height. Like so. Boost off of that. Now here, just jump over these digital platforms that are about to show up. Suck up these enemies. Quick note, we are trying to build hero gauge. That's why we've been killing the aliens. And here you're going to want to turn around because there's a worm. Jump forward here. So these panels, a lot of work has been done to try to figure out how to do them quickly, but nothing is that much faster than just doing 4 short hops. So for your purposes, that's going to be good enough. Just do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, homing attack. 1, 2, well, 5 because I messed up. So here, this trick is difficult. It's gonna probably take some time to get it consistent. It requires a frame 1 spin dash jump. So just watch where I do it here, and you're going to want to hold down the right trigger as you get to it to cut your speed and allow yourself to kind of customize your position, because you're going to want to use the texture under Shadow here to find a consistent place to line yourself up for it. The idea is that you want to jump from here, and you're going to sort of weirdly bounce off of this bit of collision. So I'm setting it up. I start it right, so you see this line here. It starts to curve at this point. I try to aim for the part right where it starts to curve. So you can see I'm about there. I charge it up. I'm a little far forward. I could be a little further back. And I just want to spin dash and then jump the frame right after I release the X button. And hold A the whole time on the way up. Depth perception can be a little tricky here. Just make sure you're landing on the pole. Oftentimes, it's closer to you than you think it is. So this pole jump is a good opportunity to explain the perfect spin dash jump, as you will need one here with the given texture cue to make it all the way up. So the idea is you want to press A the very frame after you release X from charging the spin dash. If you do it the same frame, you'll just get a hop, unlike in SA 1 and 2, so that's a difference here. So I'll go ahead and get us to that texture cue. So you can see we are right on the area where the line starts to bend. That's kind of where you want to aim for this variant of the jump. Now I'm going to advance to the point where we're going to perform the jump. So pay attention to the input display. At some point you're going to see that I release X and nothing else is pressed on that frame when X is released. So there it is. You can see that I'm pressing nothing, and then when I advance 1 frame, I'll be holding A. And that's what you need to happen pretty much every time here. And then we go up, and I hold slightly back to make it so I don't go too far forward, grab the pole, and we're good. Here's another slightly different way to do this jump if you're struggling with the first method. I don't find this easier, but some people do, and they use it as their dominant method, so try it out if you're having trouble with the first. It just uses a different texture cue. So you see these 3 zigzag lines right here. You want to stand right where they stop zigzagging and straighten out, just in the middle right here. And you'll need to delay your A press a little bit more. So maybe like 2 to 3 frames after you normally would press A after releasing the spin dash, do that here. And it can be helpful if you have trouble getting that perfect frame 1 spin dash jump. So here's that. So yeah, try it out if you're having trouble with the first method. And shimmy to the left here. Jump off and jump right near the edge of this platform and hold A the whole time so that you'll have enough height, because you're going to want a homing attack boost off of this incline to get up on this platform. And go in here, do a quick hop and homing attack into that portal, homing attack into the auto-scroller, and now we wait. You can just do nothing for this one. Just straight up dead time for the level, essentially. It's kind of the most boring level of the path for that reason. Easy to lose focus during these sections, start reading your text, forget that the rest of the level is coming up. Alright, so here's another section where you're going to want to mash A when you're coming out of this auto-scroller, and just hold forward. If you don't hold forward, you won't make it to the spring ahead, so make sure you are. You just go right into that. Suck up this gun beetle, do the 4-hop, homing attack out. And right here, as soon as you get to this upper platform, it starts a timer on 2 worms spawning, one on the right, one on the left. So you don't want to delay too much in getting up here, but once you're up there, it kind of doesn't really matter how quickly you suck up these guys, because you're going to have to wait for these 2 worms to come up anyway. So once you suck these 2 guys up, just start spinning around until you suck up the 2 worms. And just jump up this platform, suck up this gun beetle, and also note that I'm to the right of center on this platform. You don't want to be too far left or these bullets will hit you. So you can start holding B a little bit sooner than it looks like here. The idea is you want to start sucking with the vacuum gun as soon as possible while turning right to hit to suck up the enemies that start the next dash.
Jump.
This one you turn left. This one you turn right.
Stop.
And this is another area where you want to mash out of this little auto-scroller. If you're holding to the right, you can potentially avoid homing attacking the enemies, but it's not too important. It's not really too slow just to take the line of them. So this is what that looks like.
There's an entry. The light space.
And just spin in a circle. After that, cut your speed. So coming out of this one, you don't want to mash A out of it. Wait a little bit until you're high enough in the air to make it over to this area of the platform. And then we just want to get into this light shaft as soon as possible, so just homing attack into it.
That's the chaos emerald owned by the government.
And we're going to fall on this platform here and initiate a spin dash jump, but first you probably want to suck up these rings because they like to cause stray light dashes that make you fall down, and it's really slow and frustrating. So charge your spin dash, jump, don't homing attack because it'll target weird things. So suck up that gun beetle and jump towards the edge of the platform and make sure you hold A the whole time or else you won't make it over. And as soon as you suck up these 2 guys, that'll start this block rising. So as soon as you know that both of these are going into the gun, start charging a spin dash. And then let it go under, and as soon as you're past it, double tap A so that you can quick jump and homing attack out of that spin dash. Do that light dash, get into the shaft. You do want to mash out of this one, aiming kind of northwest so that you avoid some collision that's going to show up in front of you. And on your way down, drop the gun. Jump kick this box and fall into the heel cannon, and you'll want to shoot one of the 2 of these beetles, doesn't matter which. And now you're going to want to jump into it to get its gun, and since you have chaos control here, you can't press Y to get rid of your current gun, so you're going to have to do a quick pickup by just running over it once it drops.
Behold the ultimate power.
And now we're at the goal object. Just do a quick hop and start shooting to initiate Shadow's hang time, and that'll take care of it pretty quickly. And do a chaos control at the last point for swag points. And that's that. Here I'm going to show an alternate method to destroy the goal object. So instead of heel cannoning and then destroying that gun beetle and grabbing its SMG, you can just shoot it with the heel cannon once and instantly chaos control as soon as you have the gauge, and then break the goal with hops towards the top. There's a little bit of a technique to it that I'll show you.
The ultimate power.
So as soon as we're up, we're going to want to hold up and barely right on the analog stick and move towards the center of the goal object. The camera is focused in on the center of it, so it'll continuously recenter it in the center of the screen. The idea is you want to rotate about it just to keep yourself under the goal object the entire time. So just kind of move yourself in the direction of the center, but ever so slightly right, so that you rotate counterclockwise about it, while pressing A occasionally to make Shadow hop, and you can get the timing based on what I do here. And one more very important note at the end of this. If you homing attack away and at just the right distance use chaos control, you can make Shadow say chaos cunt, which is pretty neat. Cool, huh?
Whatever happens to the humans is no concern of mine.
Yeah, definitely not losing too much time with safety strats on this one. 332's still a pretty damn solid tournament time to aim for.
Perfect.
So now getting into the advanced route of Digital Circuit Dark. Overall, not too different. There's just a few little key tricks that can add up to a pretty big difference. No difference in the auto-scroller section, obviously. Doesn't really matter what you do here. And we're still just going to pop out of this exit as soon as we can by mashing A. Hop up here, get the gun. So our first difference is going to be here. We're going to take that light dash, and just a couple frames afterwards, you're going to want to jump and hold A in hopes that you'll bounce off of the collision of those digital panels that are about to appear. So how those work is it looks like they're flying in, but the collision is always actually in the same place in the level. So you can just pretend like they're already there, essentially, and you just want to get kind of an upward bounce to get up to that upper platform more quickly. So you can see I didn't bonk off the side of that platform. That was a little quicker. So now we're just going to shoot these two enemies, and there's another difference after that. So we're here now. As soon as you're on this upper level, start charging a spin dash and aim at this platform in front of you. You're going to want to delay your A press after the spin dash so that it happens closer to this little incline, and that's so that you have enough speed for it to launch you upwards to get to this upper platform. Alright, now for the difficult part. This is block DBR, and it's really challenging because these blocks move. You can rely on them being in about the same position if you got here using all of the strategies you just saw. And in that case, if you get here when the blocks are still together, you want to use this texture cue, this straight line close to the edge of the platform. You want to kind of start charging right before it curves leftwards. So you see I'm here. If the block is all the way back, you want to go to the end of this line that I'm pointing out with the mouse here. It curves right where the screen ends here, so you want to be at the far edge if the block is all the way up to this platform. And for any amount in between, you want to just judge where it is and go somewhere on that gradient, essentially. It takes some getting used to. It's a pretty tricky thing. The safest way to do it is just get here at the perfect time and rely on this timing. And even then, you still want to wait just a little bit longer than the max spin dash charge, because with the block is like actually all the way extended, you're too far away here. So it's complicated. Get a feel for it. Just see what I do here as well. Your luck may vary. So you see I waited a second because I knew that the block wasn't quite close enough. So I waited for it to come to me. Before we move on, I'm going to show a few examples of how to get the block DBR from different positions, so that it'll give you an idea of where about you should be if you're in different parts of the block cycle. So first up, I'm going to show where you should be if the block is as close to the platform you're on as possible. So you can see I'm flush with right where this line starts to curve. Made it up. Alright, next I'm going to show where you should be if the block is as far from the platform as possible. This can be a little tricky to do because there's some invisible collision right in front of the platform. You just have to make sure you get that perfect frame 1 spin dash jump. Also noticed I had to pull back on the control stick there so that I didn't hit the blocks in front of it. That's not an ideal position to get it from, but if you get to the block as fast as actually possible, that's what you would have to do. Otherwise, just wait. So next up, the intermediate position, about in the middle of the cycle. There it is. And next up, sometimes if you're a little too close to the block, you'll get a straight up jump instead of the curved one that you need to make it all the way over to the far platform. Do not attempt to make it to the far platform if you see you've gotten that. I'll show you what you should do to back that up if you get that. Note that it is better to be too close than too far away, because if you're too far away and you spin dash jump at the block, you'll fly straight over it and die. This is a lot more back upable. So just curve to the left the next block over. And that doesn't lose too much time. And I homing attack out of it, shoot these two enemies. And one thing to mention on this section, you can actually get pretty close to the edge of these platforms as you're running up. The least distance possible you can take to get to the next section involves you hugging the outside edge, and there's a little invisible collision on the outside of it that if you push against, you won't fall out. So you can kind of rely on that. Just be careful when you're jumping, because you can jump over it.
What a coincidence.
And then for here, I typically am just at the far edge of this platform, and when I get near the edge of it, I jump to go into the spotlight. You don't need any additional height to get into the spotlight. You just have to make sure that you don't blow past it before you're high enough. Mash A when coming out of this so that you can avoid the item box.
I'm on a government assignment to track down a chaos emerald in the...
As soon as you get down here, just do a short little hop and turn yourself around if you have momentum to kill it, because there's some invisible collision right here that you can potentially bonk on in a weird way and lose your homing attack. You don't want that.
How about we both look for
Be careful here not to press A too soon. And we got to the auto-scroller at 45, which is what you want to see if everything's going perfectly.
another fire?
Left, right, left. Just a little bit faster, I think.
Out of the way.
One of the few spots that matters. So when we get out of this auto-scroller, it's going to be a little bit different than the beginner route. So instead of tapping A quickly to get on that spring, you're going to just let Shadow pop out of it fully and wait for him to descend. So you see this gun beetle right here. If we were to press A before we're level with him, it'll cause us to homing attack him and get stuck in the hanging in the air animation. So you want to wait until you're relatively level with him and then hit A. If you do it perfectly, you'll bonk off of the collision of the bottom of the beetle, and it'll get you a little extra speed on your way down, but it's pretty inconsistent. But it's cool if it does happen. I don't get it here. And just mash B out of this. Slight difference in how you can do this, the spin dash jump. So instead of just spin dash jumping and waiting until the very end to homing attack, if you press homing attack very quickly after you do the initial A press, Shadow won't target onto anything because he's too far away, and you'll get that little additional boost from the homing attack early, and it won't be wasted. And it also kind of flattens out his trajectory, so you get there in less overall distance. So here's a look at that. Shoot the box once you're there, quick pickup, just do a little hop off there, bonk into that, So here, you want to make sure you have a little bit of forward momentum going towards this worm, but not so much that you can't hook it right as soon as he's sucked up, if that makes any sense. So you see I kept running there. Now Shadow's aiming towards this right side of this opening. So the collision for all the digital panels that are going to show up here already exists, and there's a gap in it at the lower right. You want to not jump very high and just aim kind of straight in it, and don't homing attack too late, or you'll target one of these guys. Go slide over this to maintain speed. You can either suck up this worm behind you or not for the extra points. If you don't get them, all it means is that at the end of the stage you have to healing cannon 2 of the gun beetles, but I choose to do so here. Once you turn around, take that light dash, gets you these panels a little bit faster. And with these panels, there's a slightly faster way to get rid of them. So when you're jumping normally, if you homing attack while Shadow's on the ascent, he'll just kind of stop in place. But if he's descending and you homing attack into a wall, it'll accelerate his downward momentum, and you can use that in the situation to get him back on the ground more quickly and do your next jump more quickly. So you can potentially get these panels in 3 jumps instead of 4 if you do it right. So you see I'm getting to the ground quickly there. That was 3 jumps. Here, do about the same thing, but when you know the panel is about to break, get ready to just double tap X real quick so that you can light dash these rings and get a little extra speed going towards the pole vault. Alright, and I'm charging this using a Q. So there's this line here that emanates from this blue shape here. I'm talking about this orange line. It starts straight, and then it starts to curve. I typically try to aim Shadow right at the section where it starts to curve. You can be a little bit ahead of it and still make it, but you don't want to be much behind it. And this variation ensures that you'll get this bounce if you do the frame 1 spin dash, that is, jumping 1 frame after you let go of the X button. There are other variants where you can back up further and rely on delaying the A press. I personally find it less consistent, but your mileage may vary. Got the jump up, grabbed onto it, and you're still going to want to be slightly left on this pole to avoid the digital platforms that come up in the center. Just a quick note, if you want to see a more detailed breakdown of that spin dash jump, go to the beginner's tutorial. I'd feature it there and also show the alternate method. So just run through here, avoid the digital panels, except for this time, instead of jumping over this and bonking into that slant, we're going to use the invisible collision that exists for a bridge that's going to spawn in here. So we're just going to homing attack onto about the middle of it, do a short hop just high enough so that we'll clear this this platform with a homing dash, and here's what it looks like. Boom, boom. Aim left here. You can jump a little early so that Shadow turns more left, because you want to hook your spin dash somewhat leftward to get the portal in here before you see it. There we go. Onto the auto-scroller. Not too much to say here. I've tried to experiment with various different paths in this, and they literally come out to the exact same time once we reach the end of it, so I'm sure you could find a way to make it slower, but there's no way to make it faster, apparently. Not too much different in this next section. Just mash A out of the auto-scroller while making sure you're holding forward. And up ahead here, there's a trail of rings we can light dash. Just make sure that you're sucking up as soon as you get out of it so that you suck up the gun beetles. And here, you can jump to get to this next platform a little bit faster. Just make sure you don't homing attack too soon or you'll hit one of these virus dudes. Suck up these 2 aliens, go here, start spinning in a circle until you suck up the 2 worms, jump up here, make sure you're far enough right that you don't get hit by these bullets.
There's a ton of searchlights here.
And with these searchlights, you can hit B a little bit sooner than it looks like. Basically, like the frame right before Shadow looks like he's going to hit the searchlight, you can hit B and start turning in the direction that the gun beetles are going to be in to destroy them as quickly as possible to trigger the next searchlight.
Jump! Stop!
So here you want to mash A out of this, and you'll notice on my input display I'm holding mostly right, and that's so that Shadow avoids targeting those gun beetles that are right outside of it, and that just makes it so you don't have to worry about the slow homing attack animation. Just come right out of it, homing dash into there. Now don't mash A out of this one, wait until Shadow's high up enough so that he can clear this little circular thing. Because if he's running straight on the ground, he can't squeeze through this gap. He'd have to destroy it. Jump into the light. And here you want to mash B as you're coming out of the searchlight, because if you do a suck with the vacuum gun, it will cap Shadow's height right there. And that makes you fall to the platform in front of you more quickly. So I sucked there, and I'm falling. You want to be careful here not to press X too soon. Make sure that it happens when Shadow's shadow is visible over the block below him so that he can start charging his spin dash early. And that's so that you avoid doing a light dash on one of these rings. You can suck them up for safety, but in this faster method, I'm showing you how to not do that. And just homing attack in there. One slight technique difference from the beginner out here is instead of hopping over these blocks, you can go just to the right of them. There's invisible collision along this face, so you kind of want to try to get out along this face with some rightward facing momentum. And don't jump too high. You don't need very much height because it's pretty close. You just want to keep Shadow in the air for the least amount of time as possible as you homing attack into this gap in the side. Right, then as soon as you suck up these two guys, start a spin dash. So we can spin dash under here, homing attack out of it, and take this light dash and homing attack into that light beam. Mash A as you're coming out, aim slightly left so that you don't hit the panels in front of you. Drop the weapon on your way down. Break the box, get this, and in this case, we're not going to grab the gun. It's actually slightly faster not to. As soon as you get chaos control from shooting this gun beetle, start mashing Y so that you initiate it as soon as possible. So here's how we're going to handle it up here. As soon as you're on the platform below the goal object, try to get directly under it and hold straight forward but slightly right. And that'll get you into a loop if you're holding the right direction where you can tap A rapidly, and Shadow's momentum will always keep him rotating about the center. You want to keep Shadow right under the center because it limits the amount of time that he can be in the air when he jumps, so you can get them off more quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It takes 8. And then this next part's very important. Once he is done breaking it, you want to run slightly away from it to the side and then initiate chaos control. Because if you do it at just the right time, Shadow will say chaos cunt. Pretty cool, eh?
Whatever happens to the humans is no.
And that's the expert route. Generally, you want to aim between like 318 and 325 for it, but it's cycle-based, so you'll lose time in large increments. This will be the beginner outrun for Cryptic Castle Dark. So this level has a few points that can be a little tricky. It has a decent amount that's over bottomless pits, but if you follow these safety strats, there's not too much you have to do that'll put you overly at risk. So starting out, make sure that you're holding neutral on the analog stick. Don't start holding forward right away. You only want to start holding forward when you're close to the ground to get right up to this door. And you want to destroy this door quickly. There's a couple ways to do it, but for beginners, I'd recommend sliding into it. And then as soon as you slide into it, do a punch. So you want to press X to do the slide. As soon as you're in the slide, start mashing B so that you buffer the punch out of it. And then right in front of this door is a trail of rings that you can light dash, so get ready to press X on those once you're in range. Slide, punch, light dash. And then on this one, you'll do something similar. You'll slide, punch, but then once you're punching, start mashing A, so that you'll do a quick hop and homing attack right out of it. Alright, and there's this trail of rings on the ground that you're going to land near. If you take the full 4, you'll definitely just fly up into the air and not stay on the ground. If you take the first 3, if you're holding perfectly forward, you'll stick to the ground, but if you're deviating at all, you probably won't. So I'd recommend just taking the last 2 for a little burst of speed. There's a pretty low chance that that won't have you stick to the ground. It should work about every time. So for this section, it can look a little scary at first, but I promise you this isn't that bad. You just want to slow down towards the left end of this area. The goal is we're going to get down below to the next section. There's a little checkpoint down here. So you just want to hop over the side, make sure you're not running forward too fast such that you hit the wall in front of you, and make sure that you jump high enough that you clear this gap on the side and start holding forward soon afterwards. So we've hopped over the side. You want to aim forward and don't homing attack too soon because you homing attack into this, but homing attack as soon as you'll clear it. And we made it with plenty of room to spare. Hit this checkpoint, no reason not to. And for this section ahead, you want to get on this handle on this balloon. One easy way to do it is you can run past it, actually, and jump and homing attack, and you'll homing attack towards this egg pawn, but the handle is in between you and the egg pawn, so you'll always hit it instead. Like that. So you want to wait until we're high enough up to jump. There's this line of rings right here on this rail. You want to take that rail. And for safety's sake, just wait until you're high enough to land on the rail. Just homing attack towards it. We're easily going to make it on the rail. So now we have to light these two lanterns, and you can jump, kick real quick to get rid of this one so that you can pick it up. Just make sure you land directly on it and don't run into it so that you get the quick weapon pickup. Just attack once, go into the balloon, boom. Run forward, double tap this guy. And here, just do a small jump and homing attack over this thing. As long as you're not crazy high, it will light the lantern. So here we're going to do just a regular spin dash, no jump, because our target is far enough below us that we don't want the air drag. So you want to make sure to charge it facing away from this building, because the path you want to take curves around it to the area in front of it. Just make sure you don't hit this building at all. That's death most of the time if you do. And now we curve after we cleared the building and just hit the ground here. Alright, so now we want to hop up on this ledge and charge another spin dash. Aim it kind of slightly to the left of this thing so you don't hit it. You can see the edge of the platform sticking out down there that we want to land on. And by this point, we've been in the spin dash for long enough that if you quickly tap A while you're on the ground, you'll just do a quick hop and homing attack out of it. Alright, so this is one of the more dangerous parts of the level. You're going to hop up onto this platform and spin dash jump to where is currently to our right. So jump on it, adjust your camera. You want to be aiming ever so slightly left because there's some invisible collision right to the right of Shadow here that you can hit upon in weird ways. But anyway, to quickly aim forward, what I typically do is I get up here, get the camera facing the right direction, and then I hold the right trigger and tap back. If you're holding the right trigger, Shadow will face whatever direction the camera is currently facing forward, and it's one of the quickest ways to get him to turn. So now that we're facing the right way, charge the spin dash. You don't have to charge it fully because this isn't that far away. In fact, I would recommend that you don't charge it fully. Just get a little hop, and then Shadow will pretty much automatically light that lantern to his right because the hitbox for the torch is on his right. Go to your left, hit this balloon, jump over this to light it. So here, you want to get rid of your torch either right after or before you jump, because you're going to need to pick up another weapon shortly. And you see I've turned around because there's two birds down below, and there's the first one is pretty much directly below me. And you want to keep holding backwards so that you get far enough forward, and then homing attack so that you get the first bird below you, homing attack the second one, and get towards this box. Do a quick jump and kick. You want to get the Oma Chow gun. So there's a bird right here who hasn't quite spawned in yet, but he's one that you have to fly on. And if you shoot him early, it allows you to do other things while he's doing his getting ready to be flown on animation. And in this case, that'll give us time to pick up this heal cannon and shoot these two egg pawns for hero points. If you heal people, you get hero points for some reason, even if they're assholes like egg pawns. So shoot this guy, jump up and press Y to drop it. Now run towards the heal cannon and hop into it so that you get the quick pickup. So these guys can be kind of tricky to aim at. You just want to flick your stick in their direction. It can be kind of tricky. You might have to try multiple times to hit them. But you definitely want those points. So I didn't hit him the first time. Wanted to show off another method for aiming the heel cannon if you're having trouble hitting these guys consistently. So it's going to rely on the property of strafing that forces Shadow to face the middle of the screen. So you're basically going to aim with the camera and then press the trigger and move in any direction to get Shadow to face the enemy.
Don't let them get away.
That can be a little more consistent. I'll get on this guy. In this next section, our goal is going to be to shoot as many of these birds as possible. They can be hard to shoot, but if you follow the path I take in this video, they can be a little easier to shoot from. First off, I try to be as close to the bottom of the set path that it allows us to travel along as possible, because it seems to target the birds more easily when you're lower than them. So start shooting this guy from about right here. I also double tap them because you have more than enough ammo, so you might as well. Double tap, double tap. Avoid that guy. Then you want to get these two guys on the left. I usually shoot 2 for this one, and then 3 for the next because it's really tricky to hit. It likes to not get hit, so I just send 3 its way just for safety. 1, 2, 3, got him. This guy's not too hard to hit. So we're at 2150 points. That's kind of middle of the road. You can have as little as about 1800 and be fine here. Or as little as like 1750. And also, if you get all of the birds possible, you'll have 2550, which will allow you to get chaos control early, but we're not worrying about that right now.
What's wrong, Shadow? Does my castle scare you?
So it'll kick you off the bird. You just want to ride this rail down. Don't worry about getting the light dash or anything. It's easy for that to kill you. Shoot this elite, and just take these balloons up. And in this next section, it's very important that before you get chaos control, you don't have any ammo. So if in doubt, just spam ammo out. Even if it doesn't actually get all the barnacles, it's better just to go ahead and kill some of them manually without a gun. So that's what I did here. It didn't quite get all the guys ahead, but I'm just going to go down here and slide into this mass of them, and that'll easily give me enough points. So we're going to want to do a chaos control extension here. And you'll want to stop it about right where I am currently. So if you stop it there, it breaks these 2 torches automatically, and you want to grab them, because we need to light that lantern behind us as part of the dark mission. So go over here, run into that so it's a quick pickup, homing attack backwards, and this whole time, like once you get back here, you want to start holding left on the analogs, or holding left on the right analog stick. Because the auto camera likes to do something really screwy here, but if you just engage manual control, it'll prevent it from doing that. And just do another quick hop homing attack to get a little burst of speed. So here, there's 2 different splines for the chaos control route. There's one that goes down below and one that goes above. If you engage it at any time before you hit this balloon and get some height, you'll get the bottom path, and you don't want that. That's quite slow. We want to go through this key door. So the way we always do that in the dark mission is just hit this balloon and start mashing Y as soon as you've hit it. Don't start mashing it before you've hit it. That can end badly. So mash Y, and we got it. Hold forward right out of the exit of that chaos control. Do not homing attack here. You will target this thing. Press X as soon as you can on that little thing. And when you're coming out of this tube, as soon as you're about to regain control of Shadow, start mashing A while holding down right. So that got us out of that whole little animation a little bit quicker. So you want to homing dash up towards this thing and hit it with a torch. Aim left and do another homing dash so that you clear this guardrail. And then for this door, a couple ways to go about it. You can press B to slide, and then X to do a spin dash, or just press B to slide and press B again out of it to hit it with the torch. So I did the slide and then spin dash combo there. Now just jump onto this thing and make sure you get all the lanterns. Really sucks if you miss them. and just wait until it drops you off and run towards the switch in the middle of the room. This light dash can be a little bit annoying. If you want to be totally sure that it's going to work, there's a little prompt that appears with the X button in the lower right corner when you can light dash. So if you just want hard confirmation that it's going to work, wait until you see that. So you see I kind of adjusted myself until I was right next to the ring and this came up. The range on this one's a little bit shorter because it's a phantom ring, because the magnetic shield already grabbed it, which makes this a little trickier. So if in doubt, take your time here. It's definitely possible to get into a panic loop of pressing X and spin dashing and not getting the light dash and dying. So just watch out for that. And just jump into this bird from below to kill it the fastest. Wait until the X prompt appears, press X right when it does. And now just fly to the end of the level. From what I can tell, turning left and right in these sections does not make you go any slower. You're just moving forward at a constant speed. I do think getting hit slows you down slightly though, so just don't get hit. And there's just one little thing we're going to set up at the end of the level. So you see these torches here. We're going to need one of them to light this last lantern. And we can get it to break more quickly if we aim the bird in its direction. Our control will lock past a certain point here, so line it up as soon as you can. And that'll make it so the bird flies past Shadow into one of the torches, so you can just run into it after you regain control. And there we go. So yeah, low 3 times pretty solid for this.
I'm one step closer to getting the
really, for a beginner for a tournament setting, like anything over 320 is probably quite solid. Should probably be aiming for sub 320.
Perfect.
Now it's time for the Cryptic Castle Advanced Route tutorial. This one can be a bit of a run killer. There's some pretty punishing deaths, so make sure you're on your A game during it. Without further ado, so here, make sure that you're not holding up on the analog stick until you're close to the ground. Otherwise, you'll end up on top of this area, and you don't want that. So the quickest way to get through this door is going to be to slide when you're rather close to it, and then immediately press X while you're in the slide to buffer a spin dash out of it. And you want to hold slightly left on that spin dash so that you don't just go straight into the wall. You'll kind of glide against it and maintain some of that spin dash momentum going forward. Right outside of this door is a trail of rings. You're going to want to wait just a second after you get out of the spin dash so that you can be in range of those rings, and you're going to use them to light dash forward towards the next door. Alright, that's pretty fast, and same thing at the next door, except for instead of light dashing out of it, as soon as you're done with your spin dash, just mash A out of it to homing attack into the air column above. Alright, this line of rings, pretty annoying. So you don't want to get the full 4, or else you'll have too much speed and you'll fly over the slope. You want to get the 3, and even then it's pretty easy to get too much speed. I find some tricks to not doing that is both light dashing fairly close to the ring so that you don't get the extra time in light dash mode further away from it. And stick position seems to matter as well. If I'm holding completely straight forward, it seems to send me flying off. But as you can see on the input display, I'm holding ever so slightly right of due north. So I think that's what you have to do. It seems to be pretty consistent for me. So here's that. You're going to want to just run straight down this, and up ahead there's a couple different methods to get through it quickly. The two that I'm not showing in the full run through here are particularly difficult, and you're probably not going to want to do them in a tournament, but I'll show them anyway. But as for this method, we're just going to run over to the left side of the railing and jump off around here. And don't hold A for very long so you don't get too much height, but also don't just tap it or else you won't be able to get over this. And then you're just going to homing attack onto this little octagon below. Make sure you don't homing attack too soon or you'll wall run on this and you will die. We're down here, run to the balloon. So you can see there's this egg pawn right behind the balloon, and that's pretty advantageous for us because that means you can run a little bit past the balloon and initiate a homing attack, and it'll target him, but as long as the balloon handle is between you and him, you'll hit that instead. So we're here. For the sake of completeness and for future-proofing this tutorial in case anyone comes along in the future who wants to do really crazy strats, here are the two fast and ridiculously challenging ways to get through the section. The first one is a jump kick around the castle. So you want to aim left towards the end of this decline that you're going to run down, and hit B and A at the same time to jump over the guardrail on the side, and arc yourself around the castle and land on the section with the balloon down below. These are both crazy challenging, definitely don't do them in a tournament. A lot of ways that can go wrong. And now, this one, I'm going to go to the bottom, but I'm going to go through the castle instead of around it. There's a little manhole cover, or whatever you call it, at the bottom that you can jump and bounce off of at the bottom, and if you get the angle just right, you can clip into the ceiling above it in the castle, and while you're in that ceiling, the walls have no collision that are on the same level as the ceiling. So you get a really specific jump angle such that you can clip out of that portion of wall without clipping into the upper portion of the castle. So here's that. Boom. One more time. So you see that manhole cover in front of us. That's what you're going to bounce off of when you're just the right distance away from it. Too close, you'll get too high of an angle. Too far away, you'll jump over it. So yeah, those are fun. Just a little curiosity, if nothing else. This next part, worth paying attention to. It definitely can kill you if you're not careful. So there's this line of rings right here. We want to get a light dash on them so that we can use the light dash speed to get down that rail more quickly. You want to do it on this ring right here. And you want to make sure not to just mash X as you're coming towards it, because if you get the earliest possible light dash, it might just do a single ring light dash and fling you off to the side. You want the full ring. So wait until you're relatively close, just a little bit to the right of that railing, and copy my stick position here to approach the rail with a homing attack in about the right way.
It looks like I can...
So we got it, and we're going down this rail. We want to run towards this and cut our speed right before it, or just bump into it, because you're going to want to do a quick hop and kick to get that that light, so that we can light these two lanterns that'll make a balloon appear to get up above.
grind on that.
There is a DBR you can do off of this little platform, whatever you call it, or the side railing over here. They're pretty tricky. Probably don't want to do it for a tournament setting, but it is a thing for ILs. So, but we're just going to take the balloon up for now. I don't know if it's actually faster, but there's this trail of rings here. I just light dash to the very edge of this platform, and as soon as I'm able, hop over it. I think it's a little faster. So double tap, homing attack this enemy. Sometimes he'll spawn away a little bit further, which means you don't want to tap A right as soon as you jump. You want to wait a little bit until you're in range of him. But he's close enough here that we can just tap right off of the platform. Homing attack over this, take this light dash, and now charge the spin dash. We can either go to the right or the left of this castle. I just go to the right for whatever reason. Doesn't make a ton of difference, but it probably is a little less distance on the left. But the goal here is to not hit the castle. You want to just clear it and hook back around to the other side of it, because we're landing on a platform behind it. And if you're precise enough, you can see below there's this railing, and we're going to do a spin dash off of it next to get to the next section. It's fastest just to land right on it if you can, but it's kind of dangerous. So charge the spin dash. You can kind of see where we're trying to go over here. This little bit juts out. Mash A as soon as you're on the ground so that you can get a homing attack out of the ball form. Now, this trick. There is one other way to do it that I'll show shortly, but this is definitely the safest way. You want to jump up on this railing, move your camera to face right, And, well, I'll just do it in order. So jump up, remove the camera. Now, you want to hold the right trigger and press either forward or back, and that'll make Shadow immediately face the direction that the camera is facing, and that's a little quicker than his turning rate while he's in spin dash mode. So you don't want to charge the spin dash fully. You don't need it, and it's more dangerous to do so. And that's because there's multiple obstacles that can get in your way here. If you hit this in the wrong way, death. If you hit this little bit of the torch, it can hurt you and also send you to your death. So you want to aim between them. And just light that thing to your right, homing attack over here, take the balloon. Here's the alternate method for clearing that gap to get to the lantern you have to light. So you're going to land in a different place here. You want to go up to this platform instead of going around to the left and just charge a spin dash jump and make it down to the center platform below. So now we're down here. We're going to jump on this right here. So charge a spin dash. You don't want to aim it straight at this thing. You want to aim just a little bit left so that you give yourself more space to get off the jump after you let go of spin dash. This really is quite tight. If you don't get the frame 1 spin dash, and if you don't leave yourself enough room to do it, you'll just fall off the edge and die. And also, you have to homing attack at just the right time in the air to get over. And it's barely faster than going over there and doing it instead. So I wouldn't really recommend it for most situations, but if you happen to want to do it, here it is. And homing attack right at the apex of the jump. And we landed. Homing attack over this thing. Now you want to drop your torch, jump off of here, and start holding backwards as soon as you've cleared this edge of the platform, because there's 2 birds down below, and one of them's pretty much directly below you, so you want to get in range to homing attack it. First bird homing attacked, second bird. Now from this box, we're going to want the chow gun first that we're going to use to shoot a bird and start the timer on the delay between when it dies and when you can get on it. But as soon as it's dead, you want to drop that Oma chow gun and go and grab the heel cannon to shoot these 2 guys. So here's that. So Oma chow gun, grab that. The bird's about to spawn in. Hop, press Y in the air to drop it so that you don't get the slow drop animation. Now run towards the healing cannon. Hop, so you're right on it. Fire shots. Miss that one. Grab this. Homing attack towards the bird for a little extra speed. Now, in comparison to the beginner route, here I'm going to try to go for absolutely all of the birds possible. If you get every single one of them, save for a difficult one at the end, you'll have just enough points for chaos control to get it a little bit earlier than you would in the stage. So it can be difficult. I tend to shoot multiple shots for any bird that happens to be tricky, just to make sure, because we have plenty of ammo. So lower yourself to the bottom of the path here. I find you get a better shot from there. Double tap, double tap, double tap. So this bird is approaching from over here. You kind of want to move leftward into him. Wait until you're just about to collide with him and fire the shot. You basically want to be at point blank range because it does not track otherwise. As soon as you shoot him, let off of A. Okay, so you can see that I let off of A, and that's so that we can slow down just a little bit so that we won't go past this guy too fast to shoot him. So I'm going to move myself upwards to get an angle on him. Alright, double tapped him and shot him with the second one. There's these 2 guys over here. They can be difficult. This guy I just double tap. This guy I just shoot 3 times as I'm going by because he really likes to not get shot. I think you want to wait until you're a little further along in the path than you think you need to be to shoot him. I think that allows you to get close enough to him to target him. And got this guy, so you can see we're at 2550 points, and that's what we need to get it after we kill the next elite. Notice there's also a bird right here. If you are just shy of 2550 points and have 2350, you can shoot this guy. It's pretty difficult because your control gets locked a little bit before you get to him. But you can give it a shot if you really want that early chaos control and you don't have quite enough points. Oh yeah, and you want to lock your path down low as possible here, but not so far right that you hit this wall. That's just so Shadow isn't too far above this platform, so you don't have to fall for as long.
Does my castle scare you?
So when you're over this platform, as soon as you've cleared it, you can press X to hop off a little bit early and hop off of the bird. Make sure not to do that too soon, because if you did it right where I currently am, Shadow would get his controls locked, and you wouldn't be able to homing attack away, and you would have a very devastating death. Alright, I didn't really do it particularly early that time, but that's pretty good for safety. So this next part, we want to get a full speed light dash onto this rail so that we go down it very quickly. There's a really specific position you can do it from. You want to run right up to the edge of this platform, and right before you do the ledge teeter animation, press X. If you do it too soon, you'll slide and you'll die a horrible death. If you do it too late, you'll just edge teeter, so that's the better mistake to make, because you can recover from that. So you can see my angle of approach here. I'm kind of aiming for a little bit right of this little black part of the texture. And then when you're at the very end of this rail, fire off the rest of your shots. You want to make sure to be empty. You're going to want to kill this guy, and he's going to give you chaos control. And just use it once you've ran to the edge of this platform, so that you're as far along in the spline as possible to give yourself a little bit more time to do the extension. Did chaos control.
Behold the ultimate power.
So this next part, you're going to want to be very quick. Don't waste time, because getting chaos control early means that you have less time to do this. Try to break the torches with the position that you end chaos control in. You'll see about where you need to be to do it here. So grab it, jump backwards, just do a quick homing attack mash, and as soon as you're up against that platform behind us where we light the torch, press B when you're up against it, and then once you're up again against that lantern, make sure you start holding left or right on the camera, and that's to make it so the camera doesn't turn around and give you a really unhelpful angle. So homing dash out of it, and homing attack towards this balloon. Do not start mashing before you hit the balloon. You'll regret it. You'll get the lower path. So as soon as Shadow's bounced, start mashing. And we just got it. Hold forward here. Oh yeah, don't homing attack in the last room. You'll target an item box. So mash A as quickly as possible once you're coming out of this, while holding the direction that the next lantern is going to be in on the analog stick. Do a little homing attack hop up here, and then as soon as you're up against the lantern, press B to light it. Aim left and do another little homing attack burst over the guardrail of this platform. Now this section, fastest way to get through this door is press B to slide. You're currently holding a melee weapon, so you're able to press B to slide, and that'll make it so you don't accidentally get this light dash. And as soon as you've slid into the door, press X again to spin dash, just like we did at the beginning of the stage. And after that, just get to the balloon handle as quickly as possible. Alright, on the balloon handle. Make sure to light these. Don't forget to do that. Now, there's a way to get off of the balloon handle early before it comes to the end of its path. It can be kind of dangerous, and there's a couple ways to do it that I'll show. The main way is going to be to just quickly move the balloon to the left for just a little bit. Don't let it get very far up in the air. You want kind of a mostly leftward path, and that gives you some added momentum that it flings Shadow to the side with. And you want to aim on the bridge that comes out of the center of the room. Don't homing attack. So here's how that looks. This can be dangerous. It doesn't save that much time. Feel free to not do it, but it's here if you want it. Now move towards the switch. Here are the 3 slightly different methods that I found for doing the early balloon hop. The first one is the one that I just showed in the main video, and it just involves turning yourself to the left, doing a small hop, and homing attacking to the left at the right time while aiming at that bridge that comes out. Quite fast, challenging to pull off. The second one is a little bit safer. It involves wall running on a portion of that middle room structure. It's got kind of a black texture to it. You'll see it once I get on it. So just mimic my stick position here as I aim towards it, and you want to turn the balloon the exact amount that I do here. There's some leeway, just make sure you get it high enough. Yeah. So for a better look, that's what I'm standing on when I'm wall running, and it pretty much will always take you right above the bridge. If you connect right around here, there's a little bit of margin of error. Pretty convenient. And there's another quite safe method. Not safer than just not doing it. That's always an option. But if you want to do it, this is probably the safest way. It involves just jumping off of the balloon a little bit later, and with a high enough angle that you can angle Shadow into the door opening that the bridge leads to instead of landing on that small bridge. Yeah, right inside. This light dash can be tricky. If you want to be perfectly safe, just wait until you see the light dash symbol while you're in front of it. I don't do that here. I'm just going to try to get it, fail to get it, and press X a couple of times until it happens. Happen to get lucky with it. Now just jump into the bottom of that guy to kill him quickly. Get on the bird, and from here, not too much matters. Just try not to hit enemies. That's about the only thing that'll slow you down. It's a little breather during the run. Always gotta appreciate them when they come. You can read your phone or something. So line yourself up to make the bird run into this torch once you're getting off of it. It'll go a little bit ahead of you, and it'll break it so that you can just run over it quickly instead of having to break it yourself. Your control gets locked a little bit further back than this, so make sure you're in position well in advance. Homing attack out. Grab it, and just hit that when you're right up against it, and that's Cryptic Castle. 2:45 is a pretty damn low time. That's kind of around the best it'll go in ILs. In a tournament setting, anything from 250 to 3 is absolutely golden. Anything under 330 is good enough. This is the beginner route for Eggbreaker. So this boss potentially can reward fast mashing speed, but as a very poor masher and as someone who absolutely has his hand destroyed by mashing, I just use the game's turbo feature, and even with that, you can still get slightly under 13 seconds at best doing this. Your positioning is more important than anything, really. So, name of the game is going to be grabbing weapons and firing them off into Eggbreaker whenever you get an opportunity. So starting out, you want to do a homing attack to the right. You see there's a box right to the right of him. That's going to be where we grab our first gun. So run towards that, jump kick, and move it towards it in the air such that you land directly on it. If you get a slow pickup, he's going to target you and you're going to get hurt. Whenever he does his jump move, he targets where you're currently standing at the moment he lifts off. So if you're moving away, he'll just attack the position you were previously in and you'll clear it. So you want to pay attention to where you are when he's jumping and know that that spot is going to have a radius around it where you'll get damaged in a couple seconds. So for now, we're going to grab this gun, turn towards him. You'll want to hold down the right trigger so that you'll face the boss and move towards the right because there's another ammo box this way where we will get our next ammo from. So as soon as he's down on the ground, start shooting him while holding right trigger while moving right. Stop at about 7 or 8 shots. You don't need to shoot him too much during this, and you want to reserve some ammo for yourself for getting the next box. So go right here. Make sure you kind of clear this box. You don't want to run directly into it. So next you're going to want to move towards the box while shooting so that you pick up the next ammo while you're still firing the current gun. You'll be slowed down a lot if you run out of ammo before you pick up the next one. So I moved into it and picked up more ammo while I still had 3 shots. Now keep shooting him and start moving backwards as he lifts off. Because right afterwards you're going to jump and double tap this guy behind you. And make sure that you're moving backwards right after you kill him because you just triggered his jump to come down around where that egg pond just died. So start shooting him again as soon as you land, but start running full speed. Don't strafe here because you want to move quick enough that you'll get towards the next gun right here before you run out of ammo. That triggers the half-phase transition, which resets his attack timer. Also, I just got pretty distracted. Wow. And so you want to keep running full speed until you get to this gun right here. And then as soon as you grab it, start holding right trigger again and backing up from the boss, because if you're too close to him, you'll shoot through his legs. He's going to jump again. You jump as well and homing attack out of range. He's going to attack right where Shadow currently is. Turn around as soon as you can using the trigger and fire off the last volley. Not too bad, but you can lose a decent amount of time if some parts of that go wrong. Just don't get too frazzled, and whatever you do, make sure do not get too far away from him, because he has one spinning attack he does that he's invulnerable during that is a massive time loss, so make sure you keep the distance relatively small. This will be the advanced method tutorial for taking down Eggbreaker. This can get you a 11 time if it goes ideally, or a 12 if you have to do a little backup at the end, but it is significantly trickier and a little more specific. So the name of the game is going to be getting the 3 guns in this arena as quickly as possible, 2 from crates and 1 from an egg pawn at the end. First, we're going to want to go for the crate to the right. So just jump dash towards that and jump kick into it. Make sure you get a little bit of height on that jump kick so that you can fall down into the gun and get the quick pickup. If you get the slow pickup, he will hit you, so make sure you get it fast. And as soon as you pick it up, start moving away from him, because he's going to come down right where you currently are. So he has a jump attack, and whenever he's about to jump, it locks in his target to wherever Shadow's position currently is. So he's going to come down right where Shadow currently is, so you want to move just a little bit away from it. Once you're out of the way, face him and start holding down the right trigger, because that'll keep the boss, that'll keep the camera focused in on the boss and you facing straight forward towards him. Either mash or use turbo to fire off as many shots as you can towards him, but make sure not to run out of ammo. And as you're walking, walk towards the right, because there is an ammo crate or weapon crate off to the right here that we'll be grabbing next. So walk right and shoot. Go to the right. Make sure you clear this to either the left or the right. Don't run directly into the box, because you're going to want to shoot this face of it. So the next thing we want to do is get behind this box and start shooting as you're walking into it with the right trigger, so that you grab the gun before you run out of ammo, so you can just keep your shots going. And then after you do that, start walking backwards, and he should get to half health and trigger the cutscene. So walk backwards, cutscene triggered. Right after this, we're going to want to turn around. Don't start shooting immediately, only shoot once you're aiming towards the egg pawn behind you. Double tap, shoot him, and start walking towards his gun as soon as you can, so that you can keep firing a little bit of shots and pick up his ammo while you're doing so. So you want to get some damage in here. He's jumped into the air. Basically, as soon as he jumps, have Shadow jump as well, and move a little bit to the right. You can see on the input display I'm holding down right, and that is going to get you out of range of his mace hand in the air, so that you can just hang in the air and shoot him as soon as he comes down without getting hit. And this should finish him off if you have enough ammo, but there's a backup method if you just barely don't have enough that I'll show too. And boom. So yeah, that's definitely the fastest method, but it can go wrong. If the Eggbreaker doesn't die during your final volley of gunfire, as soon as you realize that's going to happen, just fall back to the ground. He will have jumped in the air and he'll be on his way back down. You want to position Shadow about where you think that the Eggbreaker's head is going to come down on, so that it just collides with Shadow as he's coming down, and that should do the last bit of damage. If there's still a little bit left, just go for jump hits into him. You should get rid of him pretty quickly that way. Yep, just like that. And sometimes Amy will get it for you too. This is the beginner route tutorial for Central City Dark. First thing in the stage, you're going to want to hold upper right before the stage even loads in, because you have a little bit of control over Shadow before the screen's fully faded in. So I'm holding upper right, and that was to get us a line to get towards this object, because we're going to charge a spin dash jump into it. We want to kind of aim at this face of it so that it deflects shadow upwards at an upper right angle to get us on top of this building. So now we're up here. In just a second, there's going to be a little falling platform that spawns in here. So as soon as it spawns in, it's on a timer, and it's going to start rising back up again soon. So you want to make sure to get on top of it before that happens, or else you'll have to wait another cycle. So now we have to destroy this first bomb, but we don't have any weapons yet, so we'll have to just homing attack into it quickly. The way I'll show you to do it here is just to start with the left alien and just start mashing A. You'll kill the first alien, mash A on the bomb until it flashes and is about to blow up, and then homing attack the alien to the right. Just kind of spam, and you basically just have to hope that your last homing attack will get you out of range of the bomb explosion. If it doesn't, it's not a huge time loss, but you just have to wait for the getting knocked down animation to finish. Alright, just made it, and pick up one or two of these guns. Get to the top of this ramp and charge a spin dash. You don't want to charge it quite all of the way, because if you get too much height, you might hit a helicopter that comes down here. So just kind of mimic the amount of height I go for here. Just go pretty straightforward, and then once Shadow is past the apex of his jump, start spamming shots at that alien down below, just so he'll be out of your way and he won't shoot at you while you're trying to do your next thing. So he's dead. Start charging a spin dash here, because we're going to want to spin dash a jump across this gap. And I homing attack to finish it out. So now we're over here. You want to fire off as many shots as it takes to destroy this bomb. And as soon as you see a little white circle come out, that means the bomb is about to be destroyed, and that white circle roughly indicates the blast radius. You want to charge a spin dash just outside of it once it appears. So I back up, I'm right outside of the ring, and I'm going to start charging a spin dash and face the left side of this little pathway here so that you'll kind of scrape against that wall and fall down. So now we're falling. Before you even hit the ground, you can start spamming shots at this guy. We want to kill him and get his assault rifle so that we have more ammo and an automatic weapon to make the next part a little easier. So shoot him, get his gun. I'm going to destroy this barrier because we're trying to build red gauge now, so any prop that you can route in will help with that endeavor. Now for this ramp, you want to just do a quick jump and then homing attack across this gap to the right of the ramp. The ramp is slow. And then as I'm running through, I shoot this prop for a little bit more red gauge and also to take a more direct path. Take a right, jump up here, and homing attack that barrier for more red points. Jump left, shoot these two barriers. Shoot this guy as soon as he comes down, and go up to the bomb. There's going to be another guy that falls down, shoot him. There's going to be a guy coming to the right and the left. You want to make sure you kind of stand in this position so that they're in spawn range. Move the camera outwards here. I'm holding down on the C stick here so that you can see when the two guys on the left and right spawn in. So shoot right, shoot left, go to the right. There's these two props right here as well. You can shoot for some additional red gauge. I'm going to do so poorly here. Position yourself here. Now shoot this guy and the bomb directly afterwards, because it's going to open as soon as you kill him. Jump off. Now we have to get through this little tunnel quickly. So it's going to bend and turn, and you want to just try to stay towards the middle of it, because that's where the least props are that you can get hung up on. And just shoot away, because you have red gauge, so you can shoot stuff out of your way. Just make sure not to hit the walls here. So right there, I ran past where the soldiers are going to spawn in so that I can go back here and shoot these two bombs. And that'll destroy the wall behind it so that you don't have to worry about doing so after you already kill the gun robots and the pressure's on. So now run backwards towards the guy in the middle. The guy in the middle is the only one that actually matters for opening the bomb. It's going to drop a couple of them, and when you kill the last, the bomb will open up. But you also kind of want to shoot the guys on the left and right just for extra red gauge points so that you don't run out. So shoot him. Another one's going to fall. And as soon as that last guy's dead, keep holding B and run forward, and you should be able to shoot some shots into the bomb while running. Jump into this pole, and just hit A and hold A for a little bit, and tap A again once Shadow has grabbed back onto the pole. If you do it too fast, you'll do a homing attack before you grab back onto the pole and you'll fall down. A homing attack out of here. Now just run through this alleyway as quickly as possible and shoot this gun robot on the right for red points. But after you shoot him, stop shooting, because there's a prop you're going to need to spin dash jump off of that you really don't want to destroy. So hook to the right of that car, and charge a spin dash here, and jump into that little bit of rebar. Make sure that you're not too close to it, or else you won't get the jump off before you hit it. I'll kind of just bounce off of it. Or up here. Now just turn right and move towards where the last bomb is going to be. There's 2 gun robots you have to kill for the bomb cage to open up. You can kill the first one without jumping, and for the second 2, I would recommend jumping into the air once you're close enough to make sure that your shots will reach the bomb up top. Just do the little jump and then hang in the air thing. Like that. And that method can get you pretty consistent 120s or slightly lower.
At last, revenge. Perfect.
Hello YouTube. This is going to be a Central City Advanced Ark tutorial for Broth's Advanced Route 3 tutorial. I have been kindly asked by Broth to help with the Central City portion of this guide slash video, so I'm going to be doing that here. This video will go over, or this part of the video will go over most of the advanced stuff. How to do it, things to note, all the good stuff you want to go over. This is the nitty-gritty part. I'll go over, rewind things, and slow things down as necessary in order to get my point across. And hopefully this tutorial works out well. This will be my first time in doing a tutorial on anything, and if you want more tutorials of stuff, at least on my part, you can follow me. Yeah, we'll go over Central City now. So the first strat right here is a different alternative route for the beginning collision high jump, where instead of doing a spin dash high jump to get to the top of this building, you go at the start and go backwards to then do a light dash and then do a collision high jump on the right side of that rock that protrudes. The first thing you want to notice with this strat is you don't have to do this. This is the riskiest thing in the advanced tutorials, so this only saves like at max half a second. This isn't necessarily something I would recommend doing right away unless you're like ILing, but if you want to do this, then I'll slow this down for a bit, like at 0.5 speed. Kind of want to start like around this position. You want to aim back left on the control stick a couple times in order to line yourself up with this light dash, and you want to hold straight forward to straight left. Mainly hold straight forward. You more so want to use up left on the control stick if you want a slight adjustment. And for my homing attack timing, if you homing attack too early, you will lock on to that Nermi at this area where you normally do the casual route to blow up that TNT, which opens up a spring. I homing attack right as I get past the Nermi, right about when I get fully above it and slightly ahead of it. When the TNT passes said screen is when I homing attack. That's the way I do it. That's the way I do the homing attack regardless of method, to where I don't get locked on. This strat right here is a luck-based time save that saves around 1.5 seconds if you get lucky Nermi positioning. because these spawns are different. If they're both out of your way, you can do a light dash and then do quick short homing attacks because you'll get stuck under the bomb and that'll do enough damage to where you can just blow up the bomb instantaneously after your second homing attack. And after you do this strat, you then go backwards and then pay attention to where these two enemies die, because that will determine how far you need to go and where those weapons drop. And you want to pick up this weapon and where it lands. You have to adjust your movement when necessary. This is the part that I would recommend practicing for a couple hours to understand the Nermi positions and general movement to where you can pick up that gun without too much hassle. Also, don't be surprised or too discouraged about messing up the homing attack on the bombs. If you homing attack too much, you'll lock on and then you'll get hit by the explosion. It's very easy to get caught, but that second and a half of time save is there if you want to do it. After you grab the pistol, you want to homing attack onto this bridge, and then I press right trigger, and this is a niche little tech that you can use across many levels, but I recommend doing it here to where you can stop earlier and then set up your spin dash faster. I kind of like to aim myself around the right side and then aim to the left, the top left on my control stick, to where I do a spin dash high jump. And I like to go more left, and right as I get past this platform, when the bottom of this platform, this red light fully disappears on my screen, I homing attack left and then aim my control stick right. This generally allows me to avoid the homing attack magnets from the big gun soldier robot and this Nermi. If you end up accidentally falling down in this bridge right here, you don't have to worry. If you're fast enough, you can land on this platform and ride up, and it only loses 1 second. And you can do a spin dash high jump off of this piece of collision, this debris. Not very well known, but it's there if you want another backup. After I do the homing attack, I press right trigger and then do the same thing again where I charge my spin dash. This time I go fully forward. I homing attack too early in this video, but you kind of want to aim around the same spot I am, but homing attack later. And you want to mash on this bomb, but not too much. You want to conserve some ammo. After this, after you blow up the bomb, it has this little white radius that appears. And you want to go outside the range of it so you don't explode and get hit. After I do that, I charge my spin dash, and right as the explosion disappears, I let go of my spin dash and go between the right side of the rocket to where I don't grab that rocket, because grabbing that is really slow. If you're right on the timing, you can grab the second pistol. However, if not, it's not a big deal. You just gotta conserve more of your ammo. After you do this, you want to mash on this robot, that large gun robot, because this is where you want to start building up your dark meter, because you want to collect dark shadow as soon as possible. And if you have enough ammo, I recommend still mashing a tiny bit, even without it, in order to hope to break that barricade right here, then get another 20. After you do that, you want to go right of this dash ramp and then do a homing attack early so you can not have a lot of airtime. And whenever you get a lot of airtime, it's really slow. Same reason why you don't want to take the rocket. The dash ramp's not that slow, however, that's more of time save if you can get that. I recommend for this hugging more to the right and then homing attacking early. You'll stick on the road more often. Which, if you don't get stick on that, you'll lose momentum, lose more speed. For this section here, what you want to do is you want to hug to the right wall and then jump and homing attack here, and then go jump and homing attack on this platform. This is where the enemy trigger will be, right around this area. Where with these two gun crates, it generally encompasses this entire area. It's not too precise. You just generally land on this area and the gun robots do spawn. If you have enough well, what you then want to do is you want to destroy these two barricades and then destroy this big gun robot. Afterwards, you want to grab this rocket launcher. Quick time save for you here. If you jump and aim at the top of this cage, you will blow up the second large gun robot right as it spawns, which makes the next two spawn in faster. You want to destroy this right gun robot first, because it makes the right one spawn in faster. And you want to destroy this left one, and this is where the collection of points start to matter. As you can see, me shooting a lot more of my rocket shots that seem kind of out of nowhere. I am breaking stuff. I'm just breaking these small little stools that are around this area, which gives me 20 points each. This will give me barely enough to where I can get Dark Shadow right as I destroy this third bomb. After you get around 1770 or so, 1750, you want to destroy that big gun robot, then destroy this bomb, and then homing attack off. For the advanced route, you want to take this light dash and then continue holding the fire button while you do this, and while you move left around this area, and then after you pass through that shadow crate, you want to then start moving up on your control stick, and then up, and then hard right, and then do movement as so. It's very easy to bonk on everything doing this route, so for the beginner tutorial, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but for the advanced one, you kind of want to do so. An advanced trick here, this isn't really advanced, but this is more so general knowledge that will help out for having these having these big gun robots spawn in. If you have your camera next to the middle, these spawn in the vicinity of where your camera is. So generally having your camera be locked onto the middle is generally a good idea. You can still kill these big gun robots on the left and on the right, and still get enough Dark Shadow meter. But generally speaking, you don't have to. I just prefer doing that. And also just spawning that having your camera in the middle is just helpful in general. You should always do it. Destroying the fourth bomb after destroying that third gun robot in the middle that drops down, I aim my SMG shot and try to aim that into the middle where that second TNT is, which destroys the wall. And this pole strat is very interesting. I prefer this over just normally jumping, and I'll teach you how to do it. When you land on this pole, what you want to do is you want to hold your right trigger and you want to hold left and jump, which lets you do this little animation, and you want a neutral stick and not press anything but still hold right trigger, and just repeat this process every time you land on this pole. In my experience, it makes climbing poles easier and maybe slightly faster. This is the way I'm comfortable doing it. You can do it other ways if you want. You can do it the normal way. It's generally preference. I prefer doing it this way. After doing this, and you land near the top of the pole, you want to take this light dash. And after this, and you go past that yellow car, I like to press right trigger again to completely halt my momentum to set up for this spin dash high jump. I would like to charge this spin dash high jump for more than a second to where it makes my jump timing easier, and you will get more speed, which leads to more vertical height when you do this spin dash high jump, to where you can just make this jump. Helps you skip this rocket. Taking this rocket is extremely slow. You don't want to do it. So go right, aim for around this this part of the rebar. That will help you generally get the height needed. Take this light dash as soon as you land. It's very easy to try and jump and then take the light dash, and you'll get flung in a direction if you're not prepared for it. After you take this light dash, I like to go further right. It helps me take a tighter line. And for this section, these robot spawns are random, but they generally don't matter too much, as long as you stop generally further away. The further the better. I don't have a good visual cue for this, so it just takes some practice. The reason why you want to have this be further away is because if you are too close, then your bullets will hit this part of the wall, and they don't have enough height in order to reach the fifth bomb. My advice for this level, if you just the sections you want to practice the most, I recommend practicing the point routing, generally getting more comfortable with your ammo usage. I recommend practicing the beginning, getting used to that first bomb strat at the beginning, where those guns drop, is very important. And the biggest thing is, after collecting the points, you want to heavily practice, if you take the light dash, getting comfortable with the really fast movement in these cramped spaces. Very big time save. It's very hard to control. If you do control it well, it saves around a second and a half. Maybe 2, if done perfectly. And the ending isn't too difficult as long as you get that rebar spin dash high jump down. And that's the Central City Advanced tutorial for Brof's Path 3 tutorial. Hopefully this will help you out. Hopefully you learn some new mechanics, and hopefully I get to see more people doing this. I will hand this tutorial off back again to Brof. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
So this will be the Ark Neutral, and it'll be the tutorial for both the beginner and advanced route, because there's really only one way to do this. There's one make or break skip that involves dodging some kill planes and just falling straight to the goal ring without the bird that you usually fly on. If you just can't get the skip to cooperate with you, you can always just take the bird. It'll tack on about a minute, but that can be better than failing the trick continuously and adding minutes upon end trying to get it. So at the very beginning, you want to hold forward and either mash A or hold Z and A for turbo A, so that Shadow homing attacks as soon as possible once you have control of him, which happens a little bit before the title card fades out. There's going to be a line of rings, light dash that, and you can do a little bit of a jump before you get to this bird up ahead, and start mashing X as soon as you get near it so that you can make sure you grab onto it and don't fly past and die. Just do the normal stage from here for a little bit. Just make sure you hold A. Don't hit debris to get slowed down. Shoot some things if you want to. Entertain yourself however you must. Okay, so right here, this edge of this platform is where we want to perform the spin dash off of. I'm going to land directly on it here and use Shadow to line up the fall so that I don't fall off of it. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can land to the left on the main part of the platform and just do a little hop onto here. And it's not that much slower. So charging the spin dash, I'm going to move the camera out here so that we can see the texture cue that we're going to aim for. Okay, so I'm aiming for these 3 lit up zones on these windows on the side of the Ark. You can use the timer to center yourself and make sure you're aiming in the right direction, because it can be hard to tell based on where Shadow is sometimes. So the middle of these 2 numbers is basically the center of the screen. So I have that roughly lined up, and you're just going to release the spin dash aimed right at that. Now you're just going to hold forward for a while and just fall. Eventually, you'll run into some invisible collision that will turn Shadow around without you having to do anything. Take note of where the timer is once he's all the way turned around. Okay, so we're at 30:21. You want to wait about 2 seconds, like 1.5 to 2 seconds here, before you start turning left, because otherwise you won't dodge the kill planes. So I've started turning now, and the method I use for this is I do a slightly slowed down turn just to make sure I don't turn too fast into the kill plane, and I listen to the music, and depending on where I'm at in it, I either turn on the downbeat, stop turning on the offbeat, or vice versa. Here I'm going to turn on the offbeat. Bap, 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 and we're roughly in position. So there's 2 ways you can line yourself up towards the goal ring here, because we can't see it for quite a while. So some people use the skybox texture. That never really works out for me because I find it's not in a consistent position when I restart the game for whatever reason. So instead, I use this object to my left. Basically, when you get to the bottom of it, there's some point where it stops rendering and there's just sky. So you can fall down here a few times and take note of where that happens exactly. If you're facing the right direction, you just want to make it so this object goes out of view right before you would be able to see the point at which it ends. And I'll show some footage of where it ends exactly so you can see an example of that, because right here, yeah, it just faded from view and we didn't see the point at which it stopped. Wanted to demonstrate what I meant by seeing where that geometry piece ends. So right now I'm moving in the right direction, but if I move a little bit left, you'll see where it ends. So yeah, you can see right on the left, it cuts off at some point. If you can see that at all, you're a little too far left, so you want to adjust right. You're going to fall for a while here, and the goal ring should show up between like 105 and 115, depending on how fast you got to this point. But just keep holding straight forward. Make sure you don't slip a little bit and move side to side. It's pretty visually easy to see if you have altered your course at least. Okay, so now here, notice that I'm holding up on the C-stick. When the view is facing slightly more down, start tapping it so that it doesn't go all the way and turn around. And that just helps you get a better view of it. So I'm adjusting slightly. Now just run towards the goal ring. And I do a jump kick so that I'm falling towards the end of the stage, just because it looks kind of cool. Skirting death and all.
Yes. This is where it
If
all
you barely miss the goal ring, you'll probably hit the checkpoint at least, so it's pretty hard to screw up the end of the level. Best of luck with the skip. So I have a little visual aid up here for Blue Falcon. This is the bottom part of the arena. This middle part is the upper part. These two things are springs, which are on opposite sides of the arena, and that's an SMG box. So a few things to explain about Blue Falcon. He both will rotate his body parts and will rotate about the arena either clockwise or counterclockwise, and which way he's going will depend on a few things. The rotation of his body itself will always move counterclockwise no matter what. And he does that every time he either fires a shot or a gun gets shot off of him. But at the beginning of the fight, when you're on the ground, he won't be firing any missiles, so he'll always just keep one part of his body centered towards the pole in the middle. So that means that you can consistently go towards the SMG box, grab it, and shoot him, and a piece of his gun, one of his gun parts should always be facing you. So a couple other things he can do. He also has a neutral undamaged state, which he enters as soon as the particle beam cannon is done firing. And what he's going to do there is move to the opposite side of the circle from Shadow, wherever Shadow was standing when it got into the particle beam cannon state. And that'll happen at the phase transition. And then there's neutral damaged, which happens when Shadow damages the boss while he is sufficiently close. And that'll make the boss do a similar thing where, suppose Shadow is here when he shoots the boss, it'll move to the opposite side from where Shadow was when he shot him. So basically this leaves two viable options to shoot him when you go to the upper part of the arena in the latter half of the fight when you have rocket launcher ammo. So you can either try to position yourself opposite to him on this upper circle here, and then when his cockpit is rotated closely enough to you, just fire rockets off at him. Or if the cockpit is not facing a desirable position, which basically would mean, like, if it's further left than center, if we're talking about it from the perspective of whichever gun part is currently facing the center, if the cockpit's to the left of that, you're going to want to instead go to the right of him and rotate counterclockwise, which will make him run away from you if you're continuously shooting him. And that'll lock whichever part of the Blue Falcon is currently facing the center still to the center as it rotates about. So the idea is eventually you want to have the cockpit be the part that's rotated towards the center and just kind of keep them tidal locked by running in that circle. And I'll go ahead and play out the footage now, and some of this should make more sense. So this will be the beginner method for Blue Falcon. He can be pretty inconsistent. Some little things cannot go quite right, but if you stick to the steps that I show you here, it should get you between a 40 and a 50 most of the time. And compared to the advanced method, this at least means that you don't have any risk of falling off the stage and dying, so you won't lose that huge amount, at least. So starting out, you want to go for the SMG box near Shadow. Look at my stick position here to kind of see where you should be aiming towards at the start of the fight. So jump kick it, get the gun, run back towards the center. Make sure you get close enough to the center of this little circular area, because if you don't go far enough, your camera won't refocus on the boss and it'll be harder to shoot at him. So shoot one gun part off, and just grab that gun and go straight for the spring. When you go to the spring, you want to make sure that the boss is close enough that you trigger his particle beam cannon attack on the way up, because if he still has that when you reach the upper area, he'll be moving all around and he'll be trickier to hit. Now position yourself opposite to the boss on the other side of this pole in the center, and when he comes up, fire 4 lock-on missiles at him, and then instantly lock on another 4 times. Now you want to run to the edge of the stage and jump off so that you'll be falling down when the phase transition happens. He will have dropped 2 guns, get to the ground and grab those. Now you want to look at both springs here and see which one the boss is closer to. You want to take whichever one he's going to be closer to, because you want to trigger the particle beam cannon attack on your way up again for similar reasons to last time. He's more annoying to hit if he still has that when he's on the upper level. Also make sure that he's not directly above the spring when you're taking it, because you will hit him and you'll fall back down and it's annoying. So just look at the shadow. Now go to the opposite side of him again. And if you shoot him while you're right in the center, he won't move from this position unless he gets the particle beam cannon state again. So you can just keep firing away until the cockpit reaches you, and then fire a few lock-ons at that. You should be good to go. Kind of move left and right here so that the missiles don't hit you while strafing. And he's simple enough. Anything under a minute, really, is a fairly successful Blue Falcon. It can certainly go worse than that.
The planet-piercing eclipse cannon. There's no escape for you now. Perfect.
So this will be the expert method for Blue Falcon. Can be slightly risky, as it puts you up in the air next to the boss as you homing attack him to get some guns off, and if you fall off early and get hit by his particle beam cannon, that could kill you. So just be careful of that. So a rundown from beginning to end of the basic idea: you get the SMG box, shoot a gun off of him, spin dash jump with the gun in your path, and bounce off the side of the stage to get the height to get up to Blue Falcon. Homing attack in a circle around him, and he should drop 1 to 2 guns. As you're falling to the ground, shoot more missiles at him so that it'll get him down to phase 2 as you're running for the spring. Then you go up to the top and finish him off with the ammo that you have. So let's go through it more step by step. Go for the SMG box first. And jump kick, grab quick. Go to the center. Make sure that you move far enough to the center of the pole, as if you don't go far enough, the camera won't recenter on the boss, and it makes this next jump a little more challenging. So shoot that off, and as you're going towards the ground, start charging a spin dash. One thing to note about this: if you just are on the ground spin dashing and you grab this gun, you'll get the slow pickup and it'll stop you dead in your tracks. So you actually need to do the jump before you reach this weapon for you to just keep going and pick it up. So make sure that you charge the spin dash all the way, because if you don't and you jump this soon, you won't get enough height off of deflecting off of the side of the stage to get up to the boss. So we're past him. Want to make sure that you're high up enough and just start continuously homing attacking, either mash or turbo A. And notice my input display there. I'm holding down right, and I adjust it a little bit to just be slightly under straight right, and if you hold that position, that should allow you to just get a continuous homing attack chain off. If you mash a little bit more slowly too, it'll also make it more likely that you won't get ejected and not have a homing attack trigger, because we really, really want to avoid it falling off and getting hit by the particle beam cannon. So just move around, he'll drop some guns, and then once he's done, stop homing attacking him, and as he's flying away, shoot 2 to 3 missiles into him. I usually go with 3 just to make sure that he's going to get to half health. Fire those off, grab the 1 or 2 guns that he dropped, in this case 1, and get to the spring as quickly as you can. So those just hit, he's at half health, and now pay attention to where the boss is rotated. We want to kind of think of a radius line drawn to the center of the pole, and if his cockpit is rotated from that perspective further than 6 o'clock, you don't want to use the method I'm about to show you, but the position it's in right now is at roughly like 4 o'clock or so that's perfect. If that happens, you want to just get on the opposite side of the stage as the boss with the pole between you and him. And the cockpit slowly kind of rolling towards us. And you want to just start firing missiles at him as you're holding strafe, moving left and right to avoid the missiles that are coming your way. And you can shoot enough rockets this way that he'll never even get into his particle beam ready phase. He'll just die right here, and you don't have to do any crazy shenanigans with chasing him around. You can just stay basically still. You want to mostly shoot at the cockpit, but some shots fired at the guns will also do damage until they've fallen off, so for your first volley, it makes sense to target a few of the guns as well. And if everything goes right, this goes between 25 and 30 seconds. I'll show the other way of getting the kill if he's not rotated in the right position after this. So in this circumstance, the boss is rotated a little bit past 4 o'clock from the perspective of the radius line between him and the center pole. So in this case, you're not going to want to just stand exactly opposite of him. You're going to want to go to the right and basically chase him down as he rotates counterclockwise until the cockpit's facing you again. Around that time, he should go into particle beam cannon ready mode, in which case he'll start coming back the other direction, which will stall his rotation for long enough to fire several shots into him. So here's how that goes. And you can shoot his guns as you go to do some damage. Yep, just like that. And you'll be moving enough that you'll be less likely to get hit by the missiles in this situation, but still look out for them.
Perfect.
This will be the beginner route for Black Comet. This stage is long and as hard as you want to make it, but I'm going to show mostly safety strats here, as well as maybe a few more risky options and portions where I feel like it's worth knowing about even for beginners. So before you even start the stage, start holding up on the analog stick before this title card fades out, because you'll get control over Shadow in the air before you can even see him. And that'll allow you to get over this checkpoint and run towards the saucer in front of you, which you want to hit X on as soon as you're in range. Next, we're going to go this way to get the Shadow Rifle out of this box, so just go to the right of the obstacles as you go over the goo and just double jump onto that platform. After you jump up, start moving the camera left, and that's so that we can shoot these two gun robots in quick succession once we get that Shadow Rifle. Just make sure you land on it for the quick pickup. Boom, boom, shot them. Just jump over those. Now just do a nice slow jump to get up here, making sure that you don't get to this platform with weird timing and have it make you fall off and die. And just shoot this guy pretty much whenever. Just make sure you don't shoot him when you're mid-air over this goo. Alright, running forward, shoot a shot into this barrier, and then immediately after into this gun robot. You don't have to worry about wasting ammo too much here. We have a decent amount of wiggle room. I'll turn left, and just go into this goo, quick way down. So as you're falling, there's a gun robot here, and there's going to be one spawning in very shortly here. Just fire off a few shots on your way down, and most likely 2 of them will hit the 2 guys. Now, if they don't, stop here and just look to the left to shoot this guy really quick, and charge a spin dash and release it in this direction towards the ramp. You want to do that instead of a homing attack, because you really don't want a homing attack like anywhere in this area, especially after you're off the side of this platform. And that's because there's some barnacles down below right over the death plane, and if you target them, you're done for. So do a slide to quickly fall down there. So right here, there's this line of rings. We want to just jump directly into it. And you can either get a running start and jump towards it, or charge a spin dash for a little more safety. Just make sure you charge it far enough back that you're not in range to pick up these boxes. Picking up boxes is one of the slowest facepalm mistakes you can make. So I'm going to charge a spin dash here, just once I'm out of range of this saucer. And you don't have to charge it very much. And just press X there, shoot these 2 guys, run towards this ramp. Now here's kind of a fork in the road. There's a difficult trick you can do to get a spin dash high jump / DBR off of the guardrail on the left side of this platform, but there's no backup for it. If you jump too far away and you jump over it, it's certain death. So for absolute beginners, I recommend, as much as it hurts, just take these platforms. If you get here faster than I just did, you might be able to make the first cycle, but I don't here. And it's slow, but you're not grabbing a lot of checkpoints for this first section of Black Comet, so you really want to avoid a disastrous death that costs you 30 seconds or more. And we just make our way up. You will save like probably 10 seconds here though if you go for it, so I'll show it off. Backing up a little bit, this will be the method for skipping the platforms. So you want to pay attention to these ramps. Make sure to take the right one, because the left one won't send you to the right position for the setup that I do. Touch nothing in the air, especially not the camera. And then as you're falling, you want to tap left quickly 3 times as you fall, just kind of slightly outside the dead zone, not very far left, but make sure it happens 3 times. And that should make you land about here, between these 2 notches, but closer to the back one. Fully charge a spin dash and press A as soon as you release X, and it should give you enough height. Unforgiving if you die to it, but there it is if you want to implement it. Now just shoot this guy, jump through this door, and just run down this hallway till the very end. Make sure when you get near this saucer, let off of your stick before you start pressing X, because you really don't want to accidentally trigger a slide and careen all about and fall down and die hilariously. fun for everyone else, not fun for you. So we're on here. Just take as straight of a line as you can to the left edge of this platform and jump up there. Get off the saucer and just run to the bottom. So here we want to take advantage of this kind of sloped upward part of this wall. We're going to do that by spin dashing into it, and that'll give you extra height off of this wall as you run into it. You don't have to charge it fully, but you can. So do it from about this position. The big danger is being facing too far left, because if you hit this bit of collision, it doesn't actually give you any height. This, I believe, is actually just a straight line of collision. It's not as curved as it looks. So you very much want to aim for the rocks. Got us up, no problem. Just jump in there. Now just run forward, shoot this gun robot, and get on the saucer. Hug this left wall as closely as possible just to minimize distance, and do a little bit of a hop to get over the slope. So here there's a difficult trick that you can look at expert mode for if you're interested that can maybe save about 5 seconds or so, but we're just going to take the goo. Pretty soon after your land, you're going to see me jump. There's a little invisible hump that you'll hit there that happens after the ground rumbles to simulate you getting knocked off course by the worm. If you jump over it, you'll maintain more speed. So just watch where I jump. And I start by kind of hugging the right here. Just avoiding all of the bombs and stuff. And then right up ahead, there's going to be another one of those humps, so watch when I jump. Jumped over it. Now just take the ramp and shoot these 2 gun robots. There's a guy to the left that can be kind of annoying to get. The technique I generally use for it is I start running pretty hard left here, and then when I'm in about position to shoot him, I let off the stick ever so slightly for just a second, and that slows Shadow down and also resets his turning momentum, so it means that you can kind of go quickly right after letting off the stick.
Finally, something worthy of a challenge.
Right.
Doing, Shadow?
Now shoot this guy, jump here, and homing attack to get through that door a little quicker. So this is the most dangerous thing that will be strictly necessary for beginners. The intended way to get through this section is to grab the saucer behind you and take it very slowly over this goo, and it's not a great option, and this way to skip it isn't too bad. You just want to set up this jump and make sure that you're not going to hit this portion here. You just want to make sure that Shadow is facing like a straight line from him is well past this area on the side, and you want to just make it over to these dash panels. And we made it. So shoot this guy. You just want to run as quickly as possible through here and hug the right wall. The further out you are in the track, the longer distance you travel, so you want to minimize that. And you'll probably want to slow a little bit down for these guys who are falling down. You can get them running full speed, but it's difficult. So now run over here, shoot this guy. This is another necessary but potentially risky skip. So just fully charge a spin dash. You really want to make sure it's fully charged here. And don't charge it too far forward, because you may end up getting the A press when you're already over that hump, and on the downward slope, that will kill you. So make sure you press A rather quickly after releasing X here. And homing attack for good measure at the height of your jump. So down here, there's a saucer right behind that purple rock. Just either mash or turbo B to get rid of it quickly, and you should be able to run just straight into it, and mash X when you're close to it, but not too soon or you'll slide. So this section, you just want to kind of maneuver the saucer as quickly through the area as you can while not hitting any enemies. Pay attention to these guns that fall on the ground. You really don't want to hit them, because then you'll get rid of your shadow rifle. Make sure you're firing rapidly through this section, because these guys won't get hit otherwise. So I go between those 2 aliens, hug this left wall, avoid that weapon, and go back towards the left to kind of hug that wall. And I keep counter-steering left to make myself straighten out. Right. And I just kind of stay in the middle after that. At some point, you'll want to pull up your gun soldiers killed display to make sure that you killed 33 after that point. That's how much you should have. And also what I just did was on the ascent, I jumped off of the saucer so that it would go above me. and then I start mashing A so that as soon as I can homing attack, I'll homing attack into that portal. Right, homing attack out of this, and as soon as you're close to this line of rings, press X to light dash them. If you accidentally get a slide, just keep mashing X and hope that you get it on the next one. So here you want to run to the left of those crushers, you don't want to get crushed under them, and then straighten out back to the right.
Black slab that's moving up and down should stop for a
So to be safe here, I always just stop myself about at the distance that a homing attack will get me to the rail. Sometimes the way that last section slopes downwards can eat a jump, so I just like to make sure that I'm traveling very slowly when I get the jump off, and it doesn't slow you down too much.
Hey, it looks like you can grind on
And just mash down this, and shoot these 3 aliens on this level. Hop down, turn left, and shoot this guy. As you're falling down, you can hit this guy. There's only 2 on this level, and there's 2 on the next level as well. Turn the camera right as you're falling. And you can get these 2 guys pretty much in one line. Just start spamming B and move in their direction, and then you want to jump off to the right. Now you want to homing attack towards this door as soon as possible to start its countdown for when it's going to open. And that allows you to do a door tech as well, which is what happens if you run into the wall the door for not long enough for it to kill your momentum. You want to be running slightly sideways and not directly perpendicular to it. Jump down here, 1, 2, 3. This guy takes a little bit to get in range for you to actually be able to shoot him. Should have 43 guys by this point. Get on the saucer and make sure to be quick here because we want to maintain this red gauge. So this little barrier will go away when you shoot 3 alien soldiers. There's 1 here, 1 there, 1 there. So you'll probably need to aim the stick left a little bit to hit the guy to the far left. And now you want to do a double jump with the right timing over this so that you don't hit the side of it on your way up and slow yourself down. That was about right. Now turn your camera right, and we're going to want to single hop off of this, and we're going to want to hit these dash panels here. If you want to go about it a little more safely, you can go around this guardrail, and it doesn't slow you down too much. So use that to run up. Now stop here, charge a spin dash, and just do a spin dash over here. Don't homing attack willy-nilly, because there's a guy, a golden worm down here that you can target if you do it too soon. So now we're here, just keep shooting. If you are very fast, you can maintain your red gauge up to this point, but it's very possible to run out. So if you do, just grab this guy's gun and proceed with it. You can press B rapidly on the gun that he drops to fire it faster and still kill these guys pretty fast. And you just gotta wait for this guy to come down. Just hop on this platform down here, jump across, go through the door. And you want to be to the right side of this area because it makes it easier to shoot over the guardrail at an off-screen gun robot. So if you're too close to this guardrail, you'll just shoot into it and you won't shoot the guy, which is why I started on the far right and moved left as I was shooting him. And after this, you want to move right again because there's another alien or another gun soldier for whom the same deal applies. You don't want to be too close to the guardrail when you're firing shots at him. And he's done. That's a 342, which isn't terrible. Anything under 4 minutes isn't a disaster, really, because there's some deaths on the stage that can add a ton of time. So if it's a choice between a 342 and a 5-something, take the 342.
Perfect.
This is the advanced route tutorial for Black Comet, our very last stage. This definitely has some pretty tricky strats. You may want to spend an inordinate amount of time practicing this if you want to go for the hard ones. So starting out, make sure that you're holding up on the analog stick before the stage even starts so that you can move towards the saucer. You can get control of Shadow before the screen even fades in. And just press X on that. So we're moving towards the Shadow crate. I usually aim between this little gnarled finger and the worm that's going to come up on the left. And you want to do a hop right when you're pretty much right up against this wall. If you start it too soon, the saucer might launch in a weird way against this side and come up with you and introduce a variable that you don't really want, so just jump a little late. And when you're at the height of your jump, press X to get off the saucer and start mashing A in the direction of the shadow crate to get a little homing attack off. So we're near it. Now we're turning the camera to the right to make sure that it's facing the gun soldiers that we need to shoot next. So jump kick the box, get the gun, then double tap to shoot these two guys. There's a ridiculous strat you can do right here that I'll show, but wouldn't recommend it. Just for the sake of completeness, I'll show you this stupid hard little spin dash high jump to the right. Just charge it right on this square, jump, shoot at a low angle like that. It's stupid hard, probably shouldn't do it. It also skips an enemy, so you have to make that time up at the end of the stage by shooting another guy, so it really only saves like a second, but if you're really going hard ILing the thing, it could be an option. So right here, provided that you killed those two gun soldiers quickly, you can just do a quick kind of a homing attack chain to get up. Aim your first one right so that you land kind of on the right end of this platform. And then before you jump again, shoot, and it should hit the guy to the upper right, and that makes it so that you can homing attack all the way up without targeting him. Make sure that you kill the first two gun soldiers at the very beginning right after you get the gun, or else this thing won't rise up high enough. If you fail to kill the second one quickly enough, just do this section slowly. You'll probably die if you try to do it this way. Alright, now just shoot this barrier and the gun mech behind it, and turn left immediately afterwards. So here we're going to want to hop over this little barrier, and then once Shadow is descending, even the slightest bit, you want to homing attack against this wall, and that will quickly make him accelerate downwards. A little bit before you even clear the wall, just start mashing B to get off a couple shots. You have the ammo to spare, and that'll just make sure that you get too off in the direction of the guys down here so you don't have to slow down to hit them as you run. They got shot, just slide off of here. Now just keep running and aim the stick left, making sure not to run into this crate. And once you've jumped into the air, homing attack forward towards these rings and start mashing X to make sure you get them. Quickly shoot these two guys and go to the right. Now here you want to make sure that you hit the ramp on the right and not on the left, because the setup I do for the next little high jump relies on the position that the right one gets you. So after you come off of it, touch nothing at first, especially not the camera. You want the camera to be in this consistent position. As you're falling down, once you have control of Shadow again, tap left on the analog stick 3 times, just slightly, just like a little bit out of the dead zone, and that should get you to fall into the right position to do the spin dash jump. So tap, tap, tap. And I've now started charging the spin dash in the air before I even hit the ground, which you can do. And you want to fully charge the spin dash and get a frame 1 A press right after you release the button, and that should get you enough height to get up there. Make sure you start aiming right again so you can get towards this door. Shoot the gun robot, and just jump down here and run towards the saucer at the end of this hallway. Make sure you let off the stick a little bit right before you grab it, just so you don't accidentally slide. Now just take a straight line towards the left edge of this platform, and tap X when you're near it and start mashing A so that you can homing attack onto this area. Now move towards the right end of this hallway. At the very bottom, we're going to use a little rock along the right side as a cue. Right before you hit that rock, hook hard left on the analog stick, because we're going to want to run into a wall along the left side here at a high velocity with a perpendicular enough direction of momentum that we slide up the slope. So I start holding left right there before I hit the rock. I'm even holding a little bit below straight left. This is the wall that we want to bounce off of. If you hit this purple area, you're dead. And if you're moving too far forward too quickly, you won't get a perpendicular enough hit on this wall to get enough height. So this is kind of particular. You may need to practice it a bit. And if you get enough height, you'll get enough just to homing attack straight into this thing. Fall down and wait just a second while holding forward for Shadow to face the right direction before you double tap A to homing attack towards those rings. Mash X in the air to quickly get that light dash, and make sure you shoot the gun soldier that's going to spawn in front of you. Move directly towards the saucer to this left while pressing, and press X when you're near it to get on it right away.
Try going down.
And here we're just going to hug the left wall. to make sure that we don't get too much distance.
Somehow make itself disappear.
Now for the first tricky skip. Before you get to the end of this goo, just press X to do a little hop off of the saucer and mash A. You want to hit this ramp on the far left, and once you've hit it, make sure not to hold forward or any other direction, because you'll land further ahead on the next platform if you do. You want to land as far back as possible.
Try to hit him
So notice that I've let off the analog stick.
right after he
Wait until you land, and start charging a spin dash once you're on the ground. Also, while turning the camera to the right. I use a texture cue for this, so there's a little bit of a white bit right here. I try to keep this little white pixel area centered with the screen, and you can use the timer up here to make sure that it's roughly centered. The thing you want to avoid is hitting this wall right here. It'll alter your direction, and you'll die if you do it. It's no good. So I use the timer up here and just make sure that this wall is to the right of between these two numbers, and that tends to work out. You want to be aiming just a little bit left of where you would hit this. And as soon as you jump, start moving from holding straight forward on the analog stick to slightly right to curve yourself in the air. So you notice I'm holding right now, and I'm also holding A to get all the hover frames. We want to homing attack once Shadow is next to the slope portion at the top to get him that little boost he needs to get over. That one's definitely tricky. If you're having trouble getting it down for a while, feel free to practice the rest of the level just by taking the goo path below. It's not too much slower. Now just run forward unobstructed here. And when you get past this lamp, homing attack left such that you land on that ramp. If you do it too late, you'll fly over it, so make sure you do this soon enough. And down here, you can take this light dash, and as soon as you're descending, you can shoot left to shoot the gun soldier that's going to be there, and then move the stick right to shoot the other guy who's to the right of him. So boom, boom. Here, you want to use the camera to start moving leftward. This guy is way off to the left on this path, and he's tricky to hit consistently. Make sure to pay attention to your red gauge up here after you've shot his way to confirm whether he's actually been hit or not. And so what I'm going to do here is curve left, get towards roughly here where the guy is shootable, and then I'm going to let off the stick ever so slightly, and I'm going to start moving right again. That'll slow Shadow down a bit and allow you to turn him more quickly. So boom, and then I turn left, homing attack over here, shoot this guy. So here you want to just jump a little bit before the door and homing attack into it, and that'll allow you to maintain some more speed coming out of it, which you'll want for the next thing we're doing. Boom. So stay on the right side of this room, and then towards the end, you're going to want to start moving leftwards, like a pretty hard left turn, so that you can jump left out of this little area. You just want to make sure that you don't hit this wall. And don't hold A for too long after you jump out. You actually want a fairly low angle to minimize your time in the air. The goal here is going to be to catch the trail of rings that's leading up to the dash panels on this next section. And don't just mash X as you're approaching it. Make sure that you're close to level with the rings before you do it, because if you do it too far directly above the rings, you'll get a downward light dash and it'll yeet you into oblivion. So notice I haven't started matching X yet. I'm about to, once I sort of get level with this. And we're good. So fire one shot off at this guy as he gets low enough to the ground. If you shoot it too soon and he's too high up, you'll miss, and then you'll get the full frenzy gauge and you can start firing away. Just make sure you're hugging the right side of this track your whole way around, because you'll minimize your distance that way as compared to staying on the outer left or middle. So just start firing away. Shoot those barriers out of your way. These guys can be kind of hard to hit as they're coming down. I move in their direction as I approach the area that they're going to come down, because if you're just strict hugging the right, you won't hit them. Jump into the portal. Alright. Shoot that guy and start charging a spin dash. And also worth mentioning at this point, there's a route deviation that was recently found that allows you to skip the saucer in the next section. I'll show off that route after I've done it the normal way here. It's quite tricky, but it can save up to about 10 seconds or so. So feel free to check it out, give it a try, see if you like it. Now jump over here, homing attack at the apex of the jump, run down this hallway, and start shooting shots towards this purple rock because there's a saucer behind it, and if you shoot it soon enough, you can run into it just full speed and press X once you're right up against it. And I'm going to show a pretty optimal line to get through this section if this is the route you end up taking. You definitely want to avoid counter steering like in the opposite direction that Shadow's currently moving if possible. You want to kind of have your aggregate movements work out to be as close to the same direction as possible, if that makes any sense, just to keep your speed up. But also make sure you avoid going over any of these weapons, because you'll auto-pick them up, and you very much want the Shadow Rifle and not any of that shit. Also, fire as fast as you can. These guys up top can be hard to hit if you don't. So I'm going to go between two aliens who show up here. Or to the right of them, actually. Hug the left wall slightly here. Shoot this guy up top. And now I'm going to hug the right side of the stage to stay close to this curve. Avoid that alien. And jump up, and once you're kind of slightly above the height of the portal, mash X to get off of the saucer, and then start mashing A to homing attack towards it. You don't want to be too low to the ground while you're mashing A, because if you're too close, you'll target the spring. Take this light dash, go to the left of these crushers. And down here, you can let off the stick just a little bit to make sure your A press doesn't get eaten, and just homing dash into this thing. It's kind of safest to do it, like aim for the area that's still above the ground instead of the bottomless pit. Alright, so you're gonna just run forward and shoot the next two gun soldiers. But once you've got some shots fired in the direction of the second guy, go ahead and jump off the side, because you can get the next guy as you're falling. So I've jumped, he's just spawned in. As soon as you're descending, start firing shots his way. So we got him, homing attack this way. There's going to be a guy who comes down here, and then another guy behind you. So start turning around as you go to jump off the stage. And we shot some shots in his direction. Keep turning the camera in the opposite direction as you fall. And shoot these two guys in a line. And as soon as you have shots fired in their direction, jump over the side of this platform. Now here we want to homing attack towards this door as soon as possible so that we get in range of the trigger that makes it open. If you open it too late, it'll be hard to run up against it and maintain your momentum, but if you do it this way, it won't take very long at all for it to open. And we cut full speed. Shoot the guy here, move slightly left to make sure you get some shots off in the direction of the guy on the left, and run to the end of the hallway. Make sure you wait long enough that he actually gets hit. Jump on here. And just get through this section quickly so you keep frenzy. 3 aliens here, they unlock this little platform, make sure you shoot them all. Now turn towards your right. You're going to want to do a little hop and homing attack into these dash panels. Watch what I do with my stick here. I do a lot of the motion with the camera and keep the stick moving a little bit less, but I still keep moving it clockwise slightly as I go. This way you can maintain the speed from the dash panel and use it to jump over this gap without having to spin dash, but it can be kind of tricky to get down. Just run the section on its own a lot. It's pretty consistent once you kind of get a feel for it. And don't homing attack until it's late enough. Go through here, shoot this guy, shoot this guy. And so here I'm going to start charging a spin dash off to the right. This makes it so you don't have to wait so long for this guy to fall down. Don't charge it fully, or else you'll be going too fast and you'll just hit this edge and it'll make you bounce up really high. So homing attack, and I'm going to bounce off of this lip, and as I'm in the air, I'm going to turn back in the direction of that previous gun soldier and fire some shots in his direction. This is a little bit faster than going right up to him and shooting him as he falls down. Now go to this door and jump and homing attack into it such that it's all the way open by the time you hit the ground. That'll let you carry the speed from the homing attack. Start on the right side of this area and move left as you're shooting shots towards this bridge. And that's so your shots don't get caught up on this guardrail and get prevented from hitting the gun soldier who's going to be here. Now you're going to want to move to the right again so that you can do the same thing for the next guy on the bridge. And we're good. If everything goes right with those strats, you are able to get not too far above a 3.
Let the humans await.
So now I'm going to show the way to skip the second saucer of the level. It involves grabbing the satellite laser gun from the shadow weapon crate so that you can shoot some enemies through walls. This is pretty damn difficult, the main part of difficulty being just getting up to the second area at all. So probably not full run material, but great for ILs. So we've just come out of the second portal. We're going to want to go to the left side of this jump instead of the right, because that's where the shadow crate is. So charge the spin dash jump here as normal. And we'll want to fire some shots into those barriers and shadow crate ahead so we clear it all out before we run over the satellite laser, which comes out to the kind of northwest of the guns that come out of the shadow crate. So grabbing that quickly. So we just want to run to the bottom here and start holding the attack button so that you get the laser out, because you want to get rid of this gun soldier before you ever jump. That makes it a little easier to get a homing attack off sooner to make it all the way up here, and also means you don't have to turn back around to shoot him. So pay attention to where I stop here. I kind of stop right on this ring, and I'm turning the camera to face this alien, because we want to do a spin dash jump and hit his kind of left shoulder so that you deflect kind of up left off of him and get onto this platform up here. This can be pretty tricky. You really got to get a feel for where on the alien to aim. So I hit the left shoulder and bounce kind of leftward. I'm going a little more left than we would want. You can get a slightly more straightforward angle that's safer than this, but this will make it. So we made it up. Now you want to run to the right and stay on the right side of this area. We can use the satellite laser to target people as we go, and it'll target things through walls. So make sure here to start firing the laser late enough that you don't fire or you don't target 2 shots onto this guy, because you can target a maximum of 2 targets, and if you target 2 on the alien, you won't be able to target the next guy. So wait just a little bit. Let off the stick a bit here so that you lose some speed before you start targeting this guy. And that's because this little line right here can be quite dangerous. You want to avoid falling off the left side. Now, just kind of strobe the button somewhat leisurely. It takes a little bit of a second for you to be able to fire it again after firing it the last time. So make sure to let go of it as soon as you have a target lock and you know it. Alright, named this one to the left. And just kind of run against this wall while aiming to the left. And make sure you have 33 at the end of this. And yeah, that's the only way I found to be able to get through that portal in under 2 minutes. Now up ahead, you have this gun, and it's not great for the rest of the level, so as soon as you kill the gun soldiers on the upper level, there's a guy with a minigun down below. So we want to kill him and then run into his gun and use that for the rest of the level. Yeah, that's satellite laser pretty much. Yeah, variance is pretty high on the stage, though, so there is absolutely no shame in not doing all of these strats. I definitely don't do all of them in a full run setting. This will be both the beginner and advanced tutorial for Sonic and Diablon, because there's really only one way to get them in the minimum number of cycles, and there's not much of a way to make it any easier. So just watch my stick positions through this, because they're pretty important. So I'm already holding southwest here. You want to hold about that direction because it'll get you to rotate around the stage in such a way that you'll run into the first weapon box that you'll need. So that's our first order of business, running towards that weapon box and jump kicking into it, getting the quick pickup. So we got it. Now you want to run around this set of rocks here and start moving towards it, but make sure you don't run into the middle of these 2 rocks or you might kind of slide through it and hit this item box. We want to get the invincibility from this ammo box because it'll also give us infinite ammo, and that'll let us finish this fight quickly. So get to the other side of it. Watch where Sonic is. He can be a nuisance during this, and you very much want to mimic my stick positions in the earlier part of this fight, or this might happen. Boing. So yeah, you definitely don't want that happening. So now you're just standing here and wait until the box reaches invincibility. It'll happen right after the magnetic shield, so pay attention when that happens. You might want to just shoot your shot at the end of when it's showing the magnetic shield, so you just make sure you get it. Also, fire multiple shots towards it, because sometimes it gets stopped by the little rock in front of it, so you want to just shoot 2 or 3 shots to be sure. So we got it. Now, we're running towards this rock in front of us, because we're going to want to get a little collision high jump off of it with the momentum we get from just running towards it. You're going to want to aim sort of to the left of between the 2 rocks. There's this kind of upward facing sloped part of it right here where the green is that you want to go for. Press A right before you run into it and make sure you keep holding A as you go up. And before you're at the top of your jump, just start mashing in air in the direction of the boss, and that should send enough shots his way to get him to phase 2. So fastest way to get to the boss after this, start holding forward right away, and right when you get control of Shadow again, start holding a jump and only give it maybe like 5 to 10 frames or so, and that'll make it so you can get over the rocks in front of you. Just do a homing attack after you've jumped just that little bit. If you jump immediately, you'll get caught on the rocks in a weird way, and you don't want that. Alright, so we jumped in his direction, and pretty much at any point here, you can jump and just immediately start shooting. You just want to make sure you do it close enough to the boss that you don't end up targeting Sonic instead. But you can get right up in his face if you want to. It should still be pretty safe, and that'll finish the boss fight up before 20 seconds, probably. So yeah, as long as Sonic cooperates, and you don't fail to get that collision high jump mid-fight, this shouldn't be too bad. There are certainly worse final boss fights than it. It's at least over quickly in an ideal world.
Game over, Sonic.
And that's the route. Long and difficult, but rewarding.
Perfect.
Well, that's a wrap on Path 3. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you found it helpful. Once again, if you need any additional help with some extra questions, come over onto the Shadow Discord, where there's a lot of helpful community members who will be more than happy to clear things up for you. Everyone over there has been a big help to me as I've been getting into this game over the past year, so big thanks to the entire community. And thanks to Koma, again, for doing the Central City Dark advanced tutorial. That was quite helpful. Next up, I'm just going to do the straight run of the beginner route levels, and then the advanced route levels. Enjoy!
Promise time, huh? Well then, time to go and fulfill this promise.
We're done for! Hey, Shadow. Long time no see. Looks like these black creatures really need this. Let's do it. Show them a thing or two. Watch out for the lasers coming from above.
Anybody who gets in my way is my enemy. Perfect. What is this sensation? I feel weightless atop this light. I see. I can control which way this leads.
What a coincidence running into you. Actually, I'm on a government assignment to track down a Chaos Emerald in the area. How about we both look for it together? That red block is a firewall designed to ward off intruders. Watch out. Another firewall. Out of the way. That floating map is called a beacon. It's a type of gun sentry. You should be able to use your homing attack as a weapon beacon. If you break it, you'll be able to get the weapon. They just don't want us to get in, do they? I think you can make it down there. Aw, stupid ball. Gun has this thing out of the gun. You can be sure of that. Looks like they're sending in a reinforcement unit. Shadow, don't let them get in. There's a ton of searchlights here. Jump! Hey, they're on our side. There's an entry point where the lights comes from. There it is. That's the Chaos Emerald owned by the government. That's a warp portal. It's linked to another warp portal.
Behold the ultimate power!
Well done, Shadow.
Whatever happens to the humans is no concern of mine. Perfect. The doctor must have gone.
Oh, Shadow, I'm so glad you're here. Queen went into this weird-looking castle and she hasn't come back out. Will you go in there with me to look for her?
Hey, Shadow! The black creatures have infiltrated my castle. I'd like you to go and light those giant lanterns. They're part of my special defenses. Good work, Shadow. 3 to go. Don't let them get away! Press the control stick up to make this thing dive, and then pull back to make it fly up. Holding down the A button will let you accelerate. That's it, Shadow. Exterminate them! What's wrong, Shadow? Does my castle scare you? No! This can't be happening! Fall! Those pulsating blobs are some kind of alien spore. Make sure you Don't overlook
the ultimate power.
That's the Shadow. Where are you going? Ah, that's number 3. More of the intruders are getting in now. Move quickly. That platform in the middle of the room is... Yes. Now, you just need to light the final lantern and my defenses will... Don't get burned now. Press the X button when you're near some rings to use the light dash move. Check the lower right-hand corner of the screen to see the creature's remaining health. Make sure you steer clear of walls and obstacles while flying. Nicely done, Shadow.
I'm one step closer to getting the truth from the doctor. I will not let him interfere with my plans. Perfect.
Now, let me show you the power of my latest, greatest creation.
Why can't you just leave us alone already? Shadow, bring us down!
How dare you! You haven't seen the last of me.
Sorry, Doctor, but that Chaos Emerald is mine. Perfect.
Gotta help us. We need it. This is for my friends.
Shadow to all who oppose me. At last, revenge. Perfect.
Shadow, the promised time is near. Our forces are amassing to take the Ark, destroy the defense systems so our attack force can get through. If you wish to go below, defense unit is ahead. That is one of the defense units. Destroy it. Shadow, come back through here.
The Ark, yes. This is where it all began. Perfect.
This is Ark Defense Unit Blue Falcon. I'm engaging the Hedgehog.
Shadow, let your lust for revenge be the power you need. Climb to the uppers. Do not let him escape. Use the pillars in the center to run him down.
This is Blue Falcon. Situation critical. Requesting assistance. He's too strong. Energy.
Strip him of his weapon and take it for your own.
HQ, do you read? HQ! Ah!
The planet-piercing eclipse cannon. There's no escape for you now. Perfect.
Shadow, those humans are trying to ruin our base. Exterminate those vermin once and for all. So, the human absorbs some of the red liquid by
Death to all who oppose me.
use one of our air sources.
This is going to be the final showdown, Shadow. I'll tear up this alien comet with my bare hands. Something's under the surface. Something suspicious. Watch out for its movements. Try going down. That thing can somehow make itself disappear. Try to hit him right after he reappears. Something worthy of a challenge. What do you think you're doing, Shadow? I think that's a gun battle. Death to all who oppose me. Hey, try going up. Hey, they're on our side. It looks like we've got to go in through that warp hole. Alien scum! What do you think you're doing, Shadow? Hey, they're on our side! Good going! Stop attacking the good guys! What do you think you're doing, Shadow? Alien scum! That black slab that's moving up and down should stop for a pay. It looks like you can grind on that.
Continue to resist. Well done. What
Let the humans await their final judgment day. Perfect.
I've waited years for this. Now let's finish it.
I never thought I'd have to fight you like this, but I guess I had no choice.
I have failed.
That weapon.
Game over, Sonic. Perfect. Promise time, huh? Well then, time to go and fulfill this promise.
Hey, Shadow. Long time no see. Looks like those black creatures really mean business. Let's you and me show them a big
Behold the ultimate power! Chaos control!
Exterminate the humans first. Well done, Shadow.
Anybody who gets in my way is my enemy. Perfect. What is this sensation? I feel weightless atop this light. I see. I can control which way this leads.
This is the information my system controls the data flow, and the world will plunge into chaos.
Oh, what a coincidence running into you. Actually, I'm on a government assignment to track down a chaos emerald in the area. How about we both look for it together? That red block is a firewall designed to ward off intruders. Watch out. Another fire! Out of the way! That floating net is holding here. It's a type of gun sentry. Stop that! This is a weapon container. Great. You'll be able to get the weapon. Oh, you think you can make it down there? Aw, stupid balls. jump! Stop that! There's an entry point for the light speed signal. There it is. That's the chaos emerald owned by the government. That's important. It's linked to another room.
Behold the ultimate power!
Well done, Shadow.
Whatever happens to the humans is no concern of mine. Perfect. The doctor must...
Shadow, it's so glad you're here. Cream went into this weird-looking castle and she hasn't come back out. Will you go in there with me to look for her?
It looks like I can grind on that.
Hey, Shadow! The Black Rangers have infiltrated my castle. I'd like you to go and light those giant lanterns. They're part of my special defenses. Good work, Shadow. 3 to go. Don't let them get away! Press the control stick up to make this thing dive, and then pull back to make it fly up. Holding down the A button will let you accelerate. That's it, Shadow. Exterminate them! What's wrong, Shadow? Does my castle scare you? No!
Behold the ultimate power!
That's Shadow! Where are you going? That's number 3. More of the intruders are getting in now. Move quickly! That platform in the middle of the room. Yes. Now, you just need to light the final lantern, and my defenses will... Don't get burned now! Press the X button when you're near the ring to use the light dash move. Check the lower right-hand corner of the screen to see the creature's remaining health. Make sure you steer clear of walls and obstacles while flying. Nicely done, Shadow!
I'm one step closer to getting the truth from the doctor. I will not let him interfere with my plans. Perfect.
Split movement, like, splits I need down. I just can't close out runs.
Destroy the city. You've gotta help us. Death to all who oppose me.
Yes! 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 Oh my god!
Revenge.
I'm free, dude!
Perfect.
Let's fucking go!
Shadow, the promised time is near. Forces are amassing to take the Ark, destroy the defense systems so our attack force can get through. If you wish to go below, defense unit is ahead. That is one of the defense units. Destroy it. Shadow, come back through here.
The Ark, yes. This is where it all began. Perfect.
This is Ark Defense Unit Blue Falcon. I'm engaging the Hedgehog.
Shadow, let your rest. The power you need.
Particle beam cannon, fire!
Do not let him escape. Use the pillars in the center to run him down and climb to the upper sector.
This is Blue Falcon. Situation critical. Requesting assistance. He's too strong. HQ, do you read? HQ! Ah!
The planet-piercing eclipse cannon. There's no escape for you now. Perfect.
Shadow, those humans are trying to ruin our base. Exterminate those vermin once and for all. So, the human absorbed some foreign liquid.
Death to all who oppose me! This is going to be the final showdown, Shadow. I'll tear up this alien comet with my bare hands. Something's under the surface. Something suspicious. Watch out for its movements. Try going down. That thing can somehow make itself disappear. Try to hit him right after he reappears. Crap! Finally something worthy of a challenge. I think that's a gun battle robot. Try not to smash it up, okay? Hey, try going up. Hey, death to all who oppose me. It looks like we've got to go in through that warp hole.
Let the humans await their final judgment day. Perfect.
I've waited years for this. Now let's finish it.
I never thought I'd have to fight you like this, but I guess I have no choice.
Is somewhat of a nuisance.
I have failed.
That weapon.
Game over, Sonic. Perfect.